Hey, people, how's it going? You're listening to 108.9 Far Left Radio. That's right, all wacky topics, all the time. You're not here for your grandma's right-wing slop. We get the heart pumping around here. We get the audience roaring with approval. That's right. Here and only here will you find the shittest takes. How's everybody doing today? 1 minute warning? Really? Really? Already spooky? We're going to get the sabotage right off the bat? I don't think so. I am going to accept that. How's it going, spooky? Achilles? Hope everybody's doing well out there. Pretty nice Sunday, as far as I'm concerned. I don't have too many video clips to speak of right now. I have a couple of things pulled. Found a couple of things here and there while browsing the YouTube, browsing the Facebook. Figured I might share a couple things like that, but I think it's actually going to be a pretty beefy open panel show today. Now, I'm going to let everybody know at the same time, I'm going to be moderating the panel a little bit more than I have been. Because unfortunately, with the total lack of moderation, it inevitably just turns into a giant scream fest where nobody can get a word in edgewise. So I'm not going to be totally dictatorial over the open panel, but there's definitely going to be a bit more moderation than there was before. It was a warning that there was 1 minute to the start of the stream. Doofus. Well, if I knew how to read chat properly, I would be missing mod, wouldn't I? If you want good chat interaction, I am not the show to go to. I hope he shows racist Asian humor. No, I reserve that specifically for your show, BS. If I started showing that all over the place, then it wouldn't be special, now would it? Come on now. You gotta have specific categories for specific channels. You gotta get your genre worked out early on, am I right? No, I just wanted to kind of show a couple of videos, first and foremost. Wanted to show a couple of them on the Reddit, because what else as a far left, commie-loving, Stalin-worshipping extremist, where else would I browse and spend 95% of my time except for Reddit, where I can get all of my opinions spoon-fed to me by other people? No, I wanted to show this video first and foremost, because I'm pretty sure we can all agree violence in America, it's getting worse. It's getting more ubiquitous. But the people that are trying to commit that violence don't seem to be doing a very good job if they're not holding a gun. You know, when you're a masked government thug and you're issued a gun, I'll give you, I guess it's not credit, but acknowledgement where it's due. Yeah, I guess you are pretty good at terrorizing the populace. But when you're the average Joe Schmo and you think, I'm gonna go terrorizing people just like ice too, doesn't seem to work out very well for him. Let's see our first example of that. Here we go. Let me make sure this has got the right audio. Yes, it does. Students from Hayes Consolidated ISD in Texas were attacked during a walkout protest by a red hat wearing idiot who got his feelings hurt. This is dated February 2nd of 2026, Anno Domini. So there he is. There's the aforementioned red-hatted idiot. And who's he attacking? Who's he going after there? Oh, yeah. Going after a woman Wow, what a manly guy, you know? What a picture of masculinity. You know? I'm a big strong man. Am I gonna go and fight another big strong man? Hell nah. I'm gonna go fight this college girl. That's who's gonna be a fair fight for me. What a fucking display of manliness, if ever I've seen one. Am I right, ladies and gentlemen? What the hell? And yet, even in this situation where he thought he would finally get a moment in his life where he'd feel some sort of power over somebody else, we'll see how well that works out for him. And what I love is that this is like a guy that appears to be like a grown man. Like this is somebody like in his 20s, like late 20s, very least, probably early 30s. Wouldn't be surprised if he was in his 40s, for fuck's sakes. He's getting his shit pushed in by a bunch of what he would probably consider to be a bunch of sissy milk-fed college students, are just fucking mobbing him now and gang stomping him, as they should, quite frankly. Because if you're going to go and attack somebody because they said some things that hurt your feelings, yeah, there's going to be consequences for your actions, dumb shit. I guess we're going to watch those play out right now. Oh, love me some schadenfreude. Don't you love that? It's one of the greatest things in life. Oh, he's making his heroic escape. Making his heroic escape. As one of the other fucking douchebags tries to give him cover with his fucking pickup truck. What a couple of fucking pinnacle, red-blooded, superior white Aryan Americans right here. Am I right? Real pinnacle example of the idea that the white race is just so much better than every other one, huh? These people, in their minds, think that they're so fucking cool. And the second they try to take that fucking swinging dick mega, I'll do whatever the hell I want energy into the real world, it doesn't seem to work out very well for them. Kind of looked like a mosh pit minus the rock and roll. To be fair, the girl wouldn't have pushed down if she stayed at home. That's true. That's true.
If the girl just stayed at home and minded her own business and never had an opinion about anything in her entire life, then she wouldn't have ever got into conflict with anybody, and everything would have been fine.
Forgives Achilles, but keeps distance from him. Oh, dang. Do we got, like, different factions emerging in the Aiden Linden side chat? I didn't realize that this kind of factionalism would start emerging this early into the stream. Come on, guys. Come on. I'm broadcasting right now in the spirit of togetherness. All right? That's why you're going to like the stream right now. You're not going to like the stream because I'm selfishly trying to increase my own attention in the YouTube algorithm. No. I'm telling you to like the stream out of the spirit of friendship and togetherness that everyone ought to adhere to. I think we've gotten everything we can out of that little bit of content. I got one more of those, though, to kind of show off. And if anyone wants to send me any of these, by the way, feel free. I would always, I'm always open to submissions from external content from the audience. Some people have been doing it, by the way. I really do need to take a look at some of those at some point that people like Odin have been submitting me, but I'm trying to not get like super hardcore political on this show, you know? I'm trying to just have a little bit more of a chill, laid back vibe this stream. So anyways, let's take a look. Ice Supporter gets KO'd. This was uploaded about a day ago. It's pretty fresh, pretty hot off the presses. This one. Let's have a look.
thought process. You can't dictate your fucking narrative. Oh, me? I'm not? How about I pull my Wyoming fucking license ID out and show you what American is? Fuck you. Hit me. Hit me. Hit me.
Oh!
Oh!
Dropped him.
Damn.
Dropped my hat, didn't I?
Yep.
Forgot my hat. Yeah, you did.
Shouldn't have pushed me.
I didn't touch you, you motherfucker.
Yep.
I didn't touch you.
Welcome to America.
Oh.
You got it on video.
Yeah.
I'm not worried.
You totally touched him. You totally tried to shove him, dude. Like, it's all on video. What are you talking about? You didn't try to shove him. I love, by the way, shout out to the top comment on the... Shout out to the top comment. Because it's so fucking accurate. It's so fucking true. It really is. That's exactly how that ended up playing out. IRL. My goodness. Lol indeed. I think there was a famous prison experiment about where the wrenches and non-wrenches. That's true. That's true. I'll keep you guys isolated for a few months, and we'll see how the side chat is doing at the very end of that. I'm sure it won't have any kind of grapes of wrath energy to it at all. Hey, it's the Keith Olbermann show. I remember this guy. I don't know whether that's a compliment or not. And I don't know now whether BS is laughing at that or laughing at what I just had on screen, because this is just a perfect example of the fact that I'm so much younger than everyone else on the community. Who the fuck is that? I don't know how to take that. Is that a compliment? I sure as shit don't know. I'm not going to pretend to either. Anyways, I had another piece of content that came across my YouTube feed kind of randomly, and it had to do with somebody in this community. And I know who you're thinking. I know. Oh God, Aiden, are you going to fucking talk about Lupin again? No. No, fret not, 5 people watching right now. All right? I'm not going to talk about Lupin again. I'm going to talk about Terry Strange. Because Terry had a video, an old video of hers, ancient by the days of YouTube. 9 years old. Come across my video feed. Literally at random. I wish I had screenshot it in the wild when I had seen it. Because I was just browsing, and lo and behold, what comes up? Except a certain person's face. Now, she looked a bit different. I mean, anybody would. It's been 9 years. I'd kind of be shocked if your appearance didn't change over the course of 9 years, quite frankly, but I immediately knew who it was. And the title grabbed me just as quickly as the thumbnail did. It's called Radical Feminist Philosophy and Choice by Terry Strange. Let's take a look and have a little bit of a review of that there piece of content. Here we go. Like I said, 9 years ago. I think this was uploaded in 2017. I was waiting to laugh in case Designer Dan went on the Proverbs guys for another train wreck. Then Aiden's show came up. Excellent. OMG. OMG. I know. I was a little taken aback myself. All right. Calm down, everybody. Okay? Stay in your seats. Stay in your seats. We're going to review this content, and we're going to review what she has to say. Now, I reviewed like maybe the first 30 seconds of this video and immediately discovered that it would be perfect content fodder for this channel. So let's take a look at what 9 years ago Terry had to say about radical feminism.
Hey everyone, so I'm going to start this video talking about Harry Potter because I'm a millennial. So that's just, it's what springs to mind. It's like there was this pivotal scene, right, where Harry Potter is with Dumbledore and the Sorting Hat. that like puts all the children into the various houses, you know, their wizarding houses based on, you know, their skills as people, their talents, their innate gifts. And when Harry went to be sorted, he sat there thinking, not Slytherin, not Slytherin, not Slytherin, which according to Pottermore is my house. So lets you know some things about me. But like, yeah, he's there thinking that, and the hat puts him into Gryffindor. But he finds out in this scene that the hat felt he was meant for Slytherin.
Okay, so really quickly, because I know not a single one of you is actually paying attention to what she's saying right now. You're all going, oh my god, she looked different. What? That's literally the sum total of what you are all thinking about right now. Hold on. Let me jog your memory really quick. Let's get back to what she's saying, though, right? Let's get back to the actual things that she's saying. She's talking about Harry Potter, and she's talking about the Sorting Hat, and I think she's using it. I think this is about where I stopped when I was like, okay, let's get this. Let's get this on the channel. Let's get this on the channel to review. She's talking about identity, right? And she's making commentary on identity as it was viewed through the Harry Potter franchise, and specifically how Harry's identity collides with the aims of what the Sorting Hat wants. Hayden called it. I wasn't listening. I know BS. What a shock. What a shock. Don't tell me what I'm thinking, big nose. Hey, I'll have you know that it's not my nose that's overly sized and strange. It's my chin. Thank you very much. I've got a Habsburg kind of like jutty chin. All right? I don't have a big nose. It's not even accurate. If you're going to start defaming me in the chat, spooky, then how about you just start getting accurate with that defamation, good sir? She's talking about Harry Potter. That's right. She is, in fact, Harry. You know what? Fuck all of you. As punishment for not listening, we're going back and we're starting this over again. Because if you're not going to listen, I'll just keep going back again and again. There's going to be a quiz at the end of this, ladies and gentlemen. So you better be fucking listening. Otherwise, we're just going to be here listening to this until the end of time. I didn't know if you realized this. But your hell, you may think, oh, hell is the place of weeping and the gnashing of teeth where the worm dieth not and the smoke of the damned shall ascend forever and ever. Yeah, that might be from the Bible or whatever. But in reality, your hell is actually being stuck on this stream and listening to Terry forever and ever. Don't threaten me with a good time, oh God. That's how I know BS is truly a sadist. Hates quizzes. Who doesn't hate quizzes, Achilles? Specifically, who of any level of like intellect hates quizzes, right? Or doesn't hate quizzes? They're really shitty. Oh, let me just test what you know. Like, let me just test you based on the couple little factoids we have pre-prepared rather than any actual objective evaluation of what you know about things. Is there a prize? There is a prize. Spooky bed hair. The prize is my undying affection. That's my prize. By the way, we're still at 4 likes, ladies and gentlemen. We've got 8 people watching the stream and only 4 likes. That's simply unacceptable. All right. I'm going to have to see at least 6 likes. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. That's pretty generous when you think about it. That leaves one of you off the hook. That leaves at least one of you off the hook. You don't even have to worry about it. You can just chill out and mind your own business. We're at 5. We just need 1 more. All I'm asking, just 1 more person. It ain't hard. It ain't hard. Just double click the video, scroll on down a little bit, hit that like button. You can do it. I know you can. You've got the touch. You've got the power. Haven't you seen the 1986 Transformers movie? Come on now. That's what this whole fucking title and thumbnail is all about. Terry got a haircut. No, this is not recent. This is not recent. Make no mistake. Missing mod. More like missing like. Am I right? Because we got 5 likes on this stream. I know you can do it. You've got the capability. You've got it within yourselves. I think it's Josh. You know who I think it is? I think it's Josh that's holding out on the like button. You think that I'm gonna give up on this too? You're probably thinking, oh, if Aiden doesn't get it within the next 10 minutes, then he's probably gonna drop this, because if he just keeps talking about this for the next 10 minutes, it's not actually gonna progress anywhere. And you're absolutely right. That is exactly what I'm gonna do. Oh shit. Oh shit. My worst nightmare is happening in real time. The chat revolt. The chat revolt. You know what? If anybody ever looks into the history of the Spartans, the thing that they feared more than anything else was the Helot revolt, right? The little guys rising up and going, you know what? We don't gotta take this shit no more. Let's just go kill all those guys and take all their shit. That's what Josh is doing right now. And you know what? I'm sorry, but decimation is gonna have to occur soon. I'm gonna select one person out of the 10 watching right now, and the other 9 people are gonna have to beat them to death. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know it's awkward. I know all of you guys are like, oh, we're friends. We all get along with each other. But in reality, I don't fucking think so. We got 7 likes. Alrighty. Let's keep going.
Hey everyone. So I'm going to start this video talking about Harry Potter because I'm a millennial. So it's what springs to mind. It's like there was this pivotal scene, right, where Harry Potter is with Dumbledore and the Sorting Hat that like puts all the children into the various houses, you know, their wizarding houses based on, you know, their skills as people, their talents, their innate gifts. And when Harry went to be sorted, he sat there thinking, not Slytherin, not Slytherin, not Slytherin, which according to Pottermore is my house. So let's, you know, some things about me. But like, yeah, he's there thinking that, and the hat puts him into Gryffindor. But he finds out in this scene that the hat felt he was meant for Slytherin. So he's sitting there like dumbfounded, and he's like looking to Dumbledore for, you know, guidance about this. Like, why was I placed into Gryffindor if I was meant for Slytherin? And so Dumbledore, being a wise old wizard who understands things, you know, on a very deep level, tells him, you know, it is not our gifts who make us who we are. It is our choices.
And it's like, isn't that true? Like, you know what? For as easy as it would be right now for me to sit here and be like, oh, she got blue hair, LMAO. Modern Terry would totally bully this Terry. Like, yeah, I could take that tact, right? That's the low-hanging fruit angle, right? But let's actually take a second and think about what she's saying right now, right? Isn't she right? Isn't that sentiment, for as like kind of cringy as it's like, oh, the whole millennial into Harry Potter thing, like, that is true. It's not your gifts that make up who you are. That's not what gives you value. It's your choices. It's your actions. It's what you as an individual choose to do with those things that define who you are as a person. Like, that's absolutely true. And I don't really know if modern Terry would agree with that. In a world where, on the Proverbs guys, she was trying to advocate that wealthy people just inherently have more of a right to live and get better access to healthcare than poor people. I don't really know if she would agree with those sentiments. I think modern Terry would probably say, nah, it is their gifts that matter. Dumbledore was like wrong about that and really cringe, actually. But let's keep listening.
And I kind of want to use that to kind of springboard into talking about my radical feminist philosophy and why I diverge from maybe the mainstream of what is considered rad femme thought. Although, I don't know, we'll get into that. I don't even identify as a rad femme. I'm a radical feminist. The reason I don't identify as a rad femme specifically is because I feel that it's a dumbing down of language, for one. You know, I feel that using the full words is important because I think it also conveys a serious.
I mean, come on, Terry. Like, rad femme. I mean, like, technically you're right. Technically it's a dumbing down of language, but like, come on, Terry from 9 years ago. I know she is using her actual voice, Big Bad Mama. That's true. She is using her real voice here. And that's kind of one of the themes I was going to get into in general, right? Is that say what you will about this version of Terry, but you know what? I get way more of a sense of authenticity from this Terry. I get the sense when she's saying this, right? That she actually believes the things that she's saying right now. She's actually speaking from some like deeper sense of conviction right now. And maybe I'm just totally off base about that. Maybe this is just a character that she was playing, and maybe she's currently playing a character right now. Who the hell knows? I'm not in her mind. I'm not the one that's going to be able to make that definitive statement. But from the very limited bits of information I do have access to, I can certainly make a guess or a deduction about those things. And knowing what I do about people, I could only guess that this version of Terry is a lot more authentic and a lot closer to a real opinion. I don't get the sense that she's playing a character nearly as much here as what I'm attempting to articulate with that. Let's read the chat a little bit. Dude, is that really Terry? I thought it was a video where Terry would comment and critique. No, that's Terry. No. This is Terry. This is Terry from 9 years ago. And honestly, I knew for a fact when I started covering it, everyone would immediately gravitate to her appearance. But fuck her appearance. I don't really care about that one way or the other. Not in a demeaning way either. Like, whatever. She is who she is. I want to hear what she has to say here. And I want to compare and contrast that because I have another video of hers coming up as a little bit of a spoiler. I have one from 2 years ago. So that's a gulf of 7 years between those two streams. And that one's called Why I'm No Longer a Feminist. And I just kind of wanted to compare and contrast and check those two out within the context of each other. But it's truly her. What the fuck? It is. It is. This is why I take my streams down. You know what, Mod? I kind of get that to a certain extent because I'm going to be honest. I had videos out there in 2014 on YouTube, like I've said a couple of times before. If you really wanted to, I'm pretty sure the channel is still out there. I'm pretty sure somewhere out there on YouTube is little 14-year-old Aiden doing his very best to articulate, oh, is that you from 2 years ago, Aiden? But he's doing his best to attempt to articulate the invasion going on in Ukraine in 2014 and doing it a lot less articulately than this version of Terry is doing at articulating her thoughts and opinions. So I kind of get it from that perspective. I definitely wouldn't want you guys to look at that content just off bat with no context. Maybe I'll find it one day and actually review it on this channel. I'd probably be willing to do that. But I appreciate the fact that she kept this up. I really do. It would have been easy for her to just remove this from her channel and scrub it from the internet, but she didn't. And you know what? That actually takes a certain level of cojones, doesn't it? Like, credit where credit is due. She had very different ideas at a certain point in her past, and she was willing to let that stand. And that's pretty commendable, if you ask me. She let the toxic part of her audience affect her. I mean, that could definitely be part of it. That definitely could be part of it. I feel like there is definitely an aspect if you're on any kind of... If you're an entertainer for long enough, right? If you're a content creator, might be a better way of putting it. No, that's definitely a better way of putting it. If you're a content creator, then yes, there's definitely this onus of... I need to try and entertain my audience. I need to kind of gear my content towards what my audience does or doesn't want. But I promise you, just as a universal rule, maybe your content won't universally succeed more if you don't follow what your audience wants. But if you are truer to yourself and what you want to do, rather than paying attention just to what your audience wants you to do, I feel like that tendency of wanting to take things down because you view them as cringe or view them as like, oh God, I don't want people to see that. I feel like that's kind of diminished by a fair amount when you're actually doing what you want to do versus what your audience wants you to do. So I think there's certainly an argument of merit to be made for that. This sucks. I hate this for Terry right now, all because of politics. It's literally not, though. I've literally done nothing to actually critique her appearance. I've done nothing to critique. I'm literally exclusively talking about what she has to say. Like I literally said from the very get-go of this, like, yeah, that would be the low-hanging fruit, right? It would be all too easy to just go on and roast her appearance and not address anything that she's saying right now. But I actually find what she's saying right now to be kind of interesting, knowing what I do about her nowadays. And that's just the thing. When it comes to dealing with 90% of people, Terry included, I care about their ideas way more than I care about any of this surface level shit. So let's actually get into a bit of those ideas. Let's go back a little bit for context and let's play.
It's a dumbing down of language, for one. You know, I feel that using the full words is important because I think it also conveys a seriousness about myself as well as the politic. It's not cute. It's not a hashtag. It's not there to be branded as something, you know, where you fucking have a hashtag and people are reblogging shit that just is like, oh yeah, this fits my aesthetic. It's not that. No. And there's a big push, you know, lately and over the past few years I've seen to...
You know what? I need to address that really quickly. Fucking good on you, Terry, from 9 years ago, for actually taking a hard stance on something, regardless of whether or not it's popular for you to do it. Right? Because I don't know how long you've been doing this whole why I left the left. Like, I'm no longer on the left wing, I'm on the right wing arc. I'm doing something completely different now with my politics and my identity. Because there very clearly was a pretty fundamental identity shift that's occurred between this time and that time. But I can't help but speculate when your why I'm no longer a feminist video was from 2 years ago, right? Right around the same time where a whole bunch of other people were making content about why I'd left the left and why I'm on the right wing now. And the left wing is cringe. I'm for Trump now, and I'm for the right wing, and I'm for Christian nationalism and all these other ideas. Like, I just can't help but wonder if that timing was a little bit more than coincidental. You know? The fact that she made that shift right around where a whole bunch of other people were. It's just, it makes me wonder. It really does. So, with that in mind, the idea that I think modern you would disagree with this sentiment. Because right now, aren't you riding the thing that's popular to be right now? Like, isn't it really popular to be pro-right wing? Isn't it really popular to be MAGA? Isn't it really popular to have this whole, like, right of center disposition? That is the trendy thing right now, isn't it? So I don't know if you would agree with this sentiment in the modern context, because it certainly does seem like you're wearing a lot of these MAGA ideas as kind of window dressing. As kind of, even by your own admission, isn't that the thing you constantly fall back to when you go all fucking radical about that shit and start talking about, like, hunting Africans? And the only good Palestinian is no, that wasn't you. That was Bubblegum that said that other comment, not the hunting Africans thing. That was you. But the only good leftist is a dead leftist. That was Bubblegum that said that, so I won't put that in your mouth. But, like, the thing you always retreat to if you get called out on all those dog whistles and stuff is that, oh, it's just a joke. I'm not being serious about it. I'm just messing around. It's just a dang old time that I'm having right now. It's not actually serious. So, like, aren't you doing the exact same thing that you're criticizing in this video? Aren't you kind of just, like, window dressing with this ideology and just kind of using it for the lulz rather than taking yourself and your ideas seriously, if indeed it is just a joke? Just as Brett Keane switched from atheist to Christian, Terry switched from left to right. I mean, I'm not just going to say that people can't change, right? That's not what I'm trying to say here. I'm going to get right out in the very front and say that people are naturally going to change over time. The person that you're listening to right now is not the same Aiden that would have been fucking yapping back in 2016, right? Or 2017. People do change, but one does have to question why people change, don't they? Because they never change for no reason. They never change apropos of nothing. There's always some explanation as to why people change and shift their ideas as time progresses. And that's kind of what I'm trying to speculate about right now. Is, you know, what motivated that change? And we're going to let her speak and have her time. It's not like I'm not going to let her have her day or have her moment in the sun here and speak her mind on these topics. So let's do that.
Turn radical politics into some kind of brand, radical feminist or otherwise, as if like it's cool, it's trendy. I'm not about that, okay? I don't ever want to be mainstream. And I'll tell you what, radical feminism will never be mainstream, and that's okay. It shouldn't be. And I'll tell you why.
I don't ever want to be mainstream. Let's just listen to that again.
About that, okay? I don't ever want to be mainstream.
Well, you're echoing some pretty mainstream talking points right now, aren't you? Like, you're echoing some pretty strong right-wing talking points that you're hearing a lot of other major people talking about right now. The sentiment that those people in Minneapolis were a bunch of Somali scammers. By the way, it got verified not to be the case. That whole Somali daycare thing, totally debunked as a bunch of bullshit. Never actually happened. And that's just one of several of those talking points that she's aped. Just adopting into your identity. Am I going to do any serious fact checking on that? Am I really going to look into it one way or the other? Nah. I heard from somebody else that they're running a Somali daycare scam. So they're running a Somali daycare scam. I mean, it's only natural, right? I don't know. I think that while, you know, I think that the sentiment from BS is actually exactly the opposite. BS said earlier, I think that modern Terry would bully this version of Terry. I think it's just the opposite. I think this version of Terry would go, what the fuck? What the hell happened? You know? Like, you used to believe in all this shit. You used to stand firmly on these ideas, and you used to shout from the rooftops, I'm going to believe in this whether or not people give a shit, and I'm going to believe in this whether or not it's popular to believe in it. And now you're believing what the majority of people believe and are just going along with things for the sake of going along with it. What the fuck, Terry? I think that's probably what younger Terry would say to current Terry. But let's listen to younger Terry.
And I'll tell you what, radical feminism will never be mainstream, and that's okay. It shouldn't be. And I'll tell you why for that as well. It shouldn't be mainstream because it's not meant to be, for one, but also, like, mainstream people don't get it. You have to dumb it down for them to understand it. I don't want to dumb shit down. That's not what this channel is about. That's not what my politics are about. It's not what I'm here to promote. I'm here to promote deep fucking thought.
Interesting. You're not here to dumb things down. You're not here to oversimplify things. You're here to get to the fucking bottom of things, Terry. That's a sentiment I can respect right there. That right there. That kind of mentality, I'm going to do what I'm going to fucking do, and I'm not going to dumb it down for you either, because that's a waste of my time. You're either going to listen to what I have to say, or you're not going to listen to what I have to say. Fucking A, Terry.
So yeah, like, I just can't get with that. I can't get with that dumbing down of radical feminism and parasitism. I feel that, you know, gutting of it, just getting out all the best parts, because there are no best parts. It's all good. It's all enlightening. It's all empowering. It's all deep. It all needs to be, like, dealt with. So yeah, I don't identify as a rad femme specifically, and I don't like a lot of that stuff because I feel like it's just contributing to a culture that is very trendy and not very deep, you know?
I could not agree with you more, Terry. I could not agree with you more. The fact of the matter is that there are a lot of people out there right now who, rather than looking into the deeper meanings of things, they just adopt what is trendy and what other people are saying, and they just parrot that rather than actually giving their genuine opinion about things. I agree. Unfortunately, I don't think modern you would agree with that, because I think modern you has fallen victim to exactly what you're talking about here.
And radical feminism is deep, you know? I don't want to interact with people who are very surface in this way, you know? And the thing is, you know, radicals in general, they're not normal people. And that, I feel like, is the other thing. Like, we're not palatable to the mainstream. We shouldn't be. You know, as much as I love it when my videos get a lot of views, I also hate it because I'm inundated with a lot of normal people who don't get me, who think I'm a fucking weirdo, and like aren't going to get anything of value out of what I'm saying because they're not deep enough. And I'm not saying this like, oh, I'm so much.
I mean, there's a little bit of a snide looking down your nose taking place there. Just a bit. There's a bit of a, oh, I'm better than you, and if you don't want to take the time to do any of that, then it's not even worth my time. Like, okay, might be taking it a little bit far in that direction. I would definitely be critical of that, because come on, let's face it. I mean, even by your own admission, you love it when your videos get a lot of views, so I can't even say you're being dishonest about that. But, like, being inundated by a whole bunch of people, right? What I would say in response to that would be that, yes, you're inundated by a bunch of people who, the vast majority of which probably aren't going to be willing to change their ideas. That's true. You know? 9 out of 10 people who click on this video that we're reviewing right now and disagree with it probably are going to go, "This is a bunch of bullshit. I don't even give a fuck," and then click off of it, right? But it's the fact that there's at least the chance that 1 out of those 10 people are actually going to take a moment and go, huh, I didn't think about it that way before. You know? Isn't that what radical ideologies are gunning for? Isn't it the idea that we need to get these ideas in front of a lot of people, because maybe it's not going to be mainstream, and maybe it's not ever going to be mainstream, but at the very least, there's going to be some people that have never heard of these ideas before that are going to give them some level of due consideration. You're not as deep as me. Yeah, Big Bad Mama. You're not as deep as me. I'm the deepest guy ever. That's right. Nobody can understand the depths of me. You know that speech Robin Williams gave to Will Hunting in Good Will Hunting? That's actually about me, Big Bad Mama. Sorry, buddy. You thought it was about you. It's actually about me. But I agree with the majority of the sentiment that she's expressing here. I agree with the idea that radical ideas are not something that's ever going to become mainstream. I agree with the idea that they're not meant to become mainstream. But I disagree with the idea that being inundated with people is inherently a bad thing because the majority of them aren't going to understand you. Because that's just a natural consequence of putting your voice out there. Right? There's not been a single orator in all of human history, no matter how articulate they were, no matter how good they were at expressing ideas, there's never been a single person that has ever been able to get everybody that listened to them to understand and agree with their ideas, because that's just a natural fucking outcropping of the human condition, unfortunately. There's going to be people that are going to disagree with you. There's going to be people that are not going to understand you. And there's even going to be a fair amount of people that are going to intentionally try to not understand you because they view it as in their best interests to willfully obscure their own ideals of what you're saying. All of that is true. And it's all not exactly a great reflection of us as a species, but what I would say is a good reflection of us as a species is the countless examples throughout our history of individuals having their minds opened to ideas, of them, once they're exposed to them, delving deeper and increasing their understanding of that, and not even necessarily eventually arriving at the point where they agree with it, but at the very least having taken the time to understand it to the point where their critiques of those things are accurate and sound. Like, that is an endorsement of the human condition just as much as what I just described is an indictment of it. So with that being said, let's keep watching.
Much better than them. I'm sure their lives are like probably a lot better than mine. Being deep is not a fucking like good thing, you know. I wish sometimes that like I didn't have that. Well, I don't know, I don't want to say that. I just understand that my life would be better if I didn't think about things the way I do. But I do. It is what it is, you know. Radicals are meant to be people who are on the fringes, you know. And if you're attracted to radical politics, if you're attracted to extremist fucking political views, you're not a normal person. Just deal with it. There's something different about you that made you come here and like view this video. There's something different about you that like makes you attracted to these things.
Okay, but just a moment ago you said that the vast majority of people that came here don't understand. So okay, here's where a little bit of the more serious critique is going to come in. You kind of can't have your cake and eat it too, right? 9 year ago, Terry. You can't say you're different if you clicked on this video because you're just inherently a radical, and also say, well, the vast majority of people, if my video gets a lot of views, are only here because they don't understand what I'm saying. They just don't even get it. They're not as deep as what I'm talking about. You can't have both of those at the same time, right? So I don't know. You got to kind of find one of those arguments and pursue it. I don't know if it's entirely honest to try and go down both of those simultaneously.
You know, the people who generally interact with and watch my videos or any of the content that I put out, like when I was vlogging, anything else, like they're not normal people. They're different. These women specifically are not your average woman. They're on another level, you know, and that's what we want. Because the purpose of radicals, you know, I've gotten into this again, you know, it keeps coming up, but like, we're not there to be mainstream. We're not there to be like what's trendy. We're not there for that. Although I think people like see that oftentimes we're really cool people, you know, so they like want to take the best bits off of us to like, you know, create an image for themselves.
Oh, interesting. People who take little bits and pieces from extremist views to kind of like give off the appearance that they're cool and edgy without actually adhering to those ideas themselves. Who does that sound like? Gosh, who does that description fit? Golly me, somebody that will constantly claim when they're being criticized, you know, they'll wear the trappings of extremist views, but when they're called out for actually holding those extremist views, they'll just fall back to, oh, well, it's just a joke. You know, I'm not actually seriously that. I don't know. Who is that? Hey, bad mama, I've just messaged you about a Congo tour. My friend Claude Balls right now is gathering another expedition to the Congo to look at what was it? Okili Mbembe or whatever it was. What was that creature that they were looking for in the Congo? Claude is organizing a trip right now to go and look at them. We're going to be really shocked to find that there's actually people living on the Congo River. Can you believe it, ladies and gentlemen? It's actually true. Mokili Mbembe. There it is. Mokili Mbembe. Yeah. I'm not quite sure what it is or what they're talking about, but if I can use it as an opportunity to milk a few $1,000s off of the suckers that are still watching me for whatever reason nowadays and believe what the hell I'm saying, then yeah, I'll do it. Hoven.
Because they don't have it within themselves to create that. Which is sad, but you know, they could. I'm not saying they don't have it within themselves.
You know what? I agree, Terry. It is sad. People who do that and don't actually seriously adhere to anything, it is sad. And I also agree with you in saying that those people still have it within themselves to break that cycle and actually come out and be loud and proud about who they really are. I agree with that too. Maybe that ought to be done a little bit of consideration. And you know what the funny thing is? is that if and when Terry watches this, which I have no illusion that she is, and that's perfectly fine. When you watch this, I'm sure you're probably thinking that, like, there's, like, either the motivation for me to try to, like, smear you and drag your name through the mud. But really, my motivation here is to just actually examine the things that you're saying and compare and contrast them to what's going on in the modern context. Right? I could have just played this on mute and made fun of your appearance if I wanted to just do a hit piece on you. Right? But that's not what this is about. I want to actually listen to what you have to say and delve into those ideas.
Don't know their power. They've forgotten it. So they have to steal and appropriate it from other people. But whole other video. You know, our goal and our whole point as radicals is not to necessarily be the mainstream. You know, we're not going to be. We're there to push things in the direction they need to go. We're there to push things further. We're there to ask for more. We're there to have a vision. We're there to, like, provide vision and dreams. We're the dreamers. We're the revolutionaries. We're the ones that know what transformations are possible within human beings as individuals and as a society, because we've done the changes ourselves. We've been through those transformations. We know what is possible within us. And, you know, we're there.
You knew what was possible. You knew it was possible. And I just, once again, have to reiterate, like, this unabashed, unashamed. And that's really the point I'm getting at. It's not even that this is left-wing, by the way. It's not even the fact that this is left-wing. I've already expressed certain disagreements with what's been expressed here, which I don't think I would have bothered to do if it was just, oh, Terry is left-wing in this video, therefore I just agree with everything she says here and then disagree with everything she says nowadays. That'd be a pretty simple paradigm if that was my goal, right? But no. It's the fact that you are just so much more authentic to yourself here that I find to be so notable. That's really what I'm trying to point out.
Provide that for others. You know, we are here to help spin the dream web and to get people to see what's really possible. So yeah, we're not meant to be in the mainstream of things. You know, if we pop in, we have to pop back out. You know, we're not meant to be there all the time. We're there to push. We're there to push things further. We're there to pull them in the direction that they need to go. You know, ultimately, we're the visionaries. So, you know, you're just this mainstreaming of it and trying to make it trendy, trying to make it cool, trying to make it the same, like, don't do it. Don't do it. And it just goes all.
I agree. Don't do it, Terry. Don't do it. Don't adopt certain little trappings of extremist ideas and then just act like it's all a joke when you get called out for them, right? Don't do it. You make a good point here.
So along with this idea that some feminists have that they're going to, like, kickstart the women's movement again. How can we kickstart it? You can't. You can't kickstart a women's movement. It's an organic thing. It will happen in its own time. And it will happen because it's inevitable. You know, we still have work to do as a group of people. We have a lot of work to do.
Okay, so to attempt to, like, steel man that, at first I was going to say that you were contradicting yourself, because on one hand you're saying that you're not ever meant to be in the mainstream as radicals, but are now also saying that women's movement is not going to be something that you can just push artificially. It's going to be something that's going to happen naturally, and that it's also inevitable. But I suppose the best way of steel manning that would simply be to say that perhaps she's saying that maybe the view that the women's movement is radical right now will become more normalized. And once it becomes more normalized, it won't even be viewed as any kind of extremist position. And at that point, because it's become the new mainstream, it would not be something where the radicals were in the mainstream for a prolonged period of time, would probably be my best way of steel manning that as a position. But even then, with that in mind, right, the ideas are still the same, right? Whether or not they're viewed as extreme, I don't think should be paramount within the discussion. I think that it's viewed often, I think it's used, for lack of a better term, as branding, right? An idea being extreme is objectively easier to market to certain groups of people than an idea that's more bog standard, right? It's more easy to sell to certain groups of people. And I think that it's kind of leaned into because of that. But I think the thing that needs to be focused on isn't, is this idea extreme or is this idea not extreme? Is this idea right? Right? Like, is this idea correct? Is this idea going to benefit more people than the alternative of that idea? And how can we articulate that to be the case? Like, that ought to be paramount, at least in my view.
So women will rise again and again, time after time. But you can't make that happen. It has to happen on its own. So yeah, I just don't get into that sort of stuff. And I find it really like counter to what I'm about here. And, you know, what I also am concerned with is, you know, what can we do to support and to further the, you know, empowerment, betterment of the lives of women who are most marginalized. You know, the women who are always forgotten, the women who don't get to like be in the mainstream of things ever. Like, what are we doing with our focus to make them rise?
Okay. I'm going to give it a little bit more here just to kind of let her articulate her position here, because I don't want to be dishonest. I want to give her a bit of chance to go on and articulate most of her points uninterrupted. So I think I'm probably going to play like, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes more uninterrupted. And after that 5 minutes, I'm probably going to shift over to the next video. And the next video of hers is why I'm no longer a feminist. And I just wanted to compare and contrast the ideas that are in that video and the ideas that are in this video. And like I said earlier, I haven't even seen a moment of the why I'm no longer a feminist video. Beyond just getting past a little introduction that she gave at the very beginning to get to the point of what she's saying. That's the sum total of what I've seen of that. And I only saw maybe 30 seconds of the video that we're currently seeing right now as well. This has all been, for the most part, pretty extemporaneous, pretty in the moment as far as examinations go. So, it's not like I was having this planned out as like, oh boy, this is a Terry roast and I'm really going to take her down a peg. I just wanted to examine what she had to say and take a look at that. So let's give her those 5 minutes and then I'm going to move over to the next video.
You know, because where your attention goes, energy flows, man. Big lesson to learn. So, you know, there's just this resistance in like mainstream radical feminism or mainstream rad fem thought to focusing on marginalized women's issues. And I think that's really bad. You know, I'm just going to use the example of women of color. I have seen time and time again, even though the majority of radical feminists are women who face multiple oppressions, there's no denying that. Like, the majority of radical feminists are not middle-class, white, heterosexual women. But you wouldn't know that because their voices are the loudest. As with all things, the people with the most privilege, within any movement, with any group of people whatsoever, the people with the most privilege always are heard the most. They're always given the most support. They're always listened to the most. They're always backing each other up too, supporting each other, and not really helping anyone else. Like, it's just the case. Just you know, for example, this channel does not get a lot of support, and it could be because I'm just not liked, or it could be because I don't fit in with what needs to be put forward. You know, I look a little weird. I do things a little bit differently. I'm not palatable to, you know, women who are, you know, white, heterosexual, you know, middle class mothers. Like, I just don't vibe with that, right? That's not going to be appealing to that. So I don't get the support that maybe, you know, other women who would have like a thing like this would get. It's just been the case. And I'm not here to complain about that really, because I don't want it. I really don't want it. But it's been pretty obvious that that's what was going on. Like, it was about keeping everything fucking the same. Keeping everything kind of like just the same bland type of thing. And I just am not, no.
I There's only going to be a really brief interruption. Really brief. But, like, isn't that you now? Like, aren't you literally all of those things? You're now this white, heterosexual, Starbucks-loving, pearl-clutching, right-wing. Like, that's you. I don't know, man. This is the definition of the whole you've become the very thing that you sought to destroy. Like, that's a trope that you hear really often in media, but I think it applies here pretty aptly. So let's give her last couple of minutes here, and then we'll shift to the next video.
I'm glad I don't fit in with that. But yeah, within all groups of people, like, it's always the most privileged that get the most attention and focus. And when you turn your focus elsewhere, it's seen as an attack, even if it's not. You know, and I've seen how within, like, specifically, you know, radical feminist communities, or rad fem ones, very much, you know, women of color specifically are treated with mistrust right off the bat, every fucking time. It's always like the same courtesy that's extended to, like, new women who are white would never be extended to women of color, because women of color, there's always like, ooh, when's she gonna bring up the race thing? When is that gonna come up? Ooh, what's her solidarity like? Is she more focused on this? Like, when is she gonna be, like, misogynistic towards white women for, I don't know, like, not enjoying?
And this is another thing as well. Now that I've given it a little bit more time, fucking based, Terry. God damn. Is it ever based of you to recognize the inherent racial inequality that exists within your country? Now, I wouldn't go so far as to say that, like, the whole, like, white privilege thing, I think definitely gets overblown to certain degrees. But, like, let's face it, right? At the end of the day, if you're acting shady in a grocery store and a black person is acting shady in a grocery store, who do you think is going to get noticed first by security, right? If you get stopped and you've got a fucking baggie of weed on you in the South, and a black person gets stopped with a baggie of weed with them on the South, who do you think is more likely to get booked? Right? And what do you think their punishment is going to be? Like, all of that is absolutely fucking true. That's all 150% true. So, good on you, Terry, from 9 years ago, for actually recognizing that to be the case. And this is one of the things, right? This is one of the... and it's the same thing with Brett Keane. Claude brought it up earlier, the whole, like, Brett Keane shifting from becoming a Christian, from being a Christian to being from being an atheist to being a Christian, pardon me. And the thing that comes with that is the fact that if you really are going to shift from one extreme to another, you have to essentially pretend like you've forgotten all of the rhetoric that you just spent all of this time, years and years and years, articulating and building up in your mind. And the same thing is true for Brett Keane. The same thing is true for him. Brett Keane went from somebody who, yeah, maybe he, in his instance, I'll give you the credit for this, Terry. You're certainly far more intelligent than Brett Keane ever was. Would ever have the capability of being. You actually are a pretty smart woman. I would never actually, the whole read a book thing, like, for as much as that was obviously a troll job, you are an intelligent woman. And the fact of the matter is, this whole, like, fact that you've forgotten about all of this race realism shit that you've been talking about is the exact same, in effect, as when Brett went from somebody that could argue the theory of evolution with pastors and totally destroy them on it, to somebody that then goes, oh, so you're just saying it came from a fish in the situation? This just came from a bunch of slime. The lightning bolt hit on a rock, and then all of a sudden there came the first fish. Like, it's dishonest. I'm sorry. Maybe this is the closest thing you could view as an attack on you, but it's just true. It's dishonest of a person to do that much of a shift in such a short period of time. because it effectively means that you're just forgetting all of those other things, which, by the way, if I ever do this, if I ever do the whole, oh, I'm suddenly a Christian now and I start asking for money from people, like if I do the whole I'm suddenly a Christian and I just mind my own business and I'm not trying to market that in any way, shape, or form, then okay, that is what it is. But if I do the come to Jesus and then immediately start pushing a whole bunch of shit, not saying that you do that, Terry, by the way. I'm not saying that you're trying to like market this in a way for money, but I'm just putting this kind of out there more as a response to the Brett Keane thing. But if I ever try to make money like Brett off of like this whole like come to Jesus moment, please play this clip. And please use it to disprove that that is actually legitimate in any way, shape, or form, because it's not. I don't foresee myself as ever being the kind of person to do that. But then again, in a really weird meta way, Terry began this entire video talking about identity, right? Talking about how somebody identifies themselves, talking about who somebody is in terms of their personality, and talking about how somebody isn't the sum total of their gifts, that they're the sum total of their actions. And I think in a weird meta way, that's kind of an overall commentary on what I'm using to talk about her right now. Because I don't think the Terry from 9 years ago would be sitting there and thinking that she would be the Terry of today, right? I think if the Terry of today came to the Terry of 9 years ago, I think that it would be like she saw a fucking ghost. I really do. I genuinely believe that. And I think that that's not entirely because of that natural change that I'm talking about earlier, right? Because people are naturally going to change on a certain level, but not this much. Not this much. So if it's not a question of entirely being natural change, it then becomes a question of why the change occurred, isn't it? And let's let more modern Terry describe why that change occurred. Enough of me fucking yapping about it. Enough of me, as Terry of 9 years ago, mansplaining how she feels. Because that's absolutely what she would say. And she's kind of fucking right about that in a certain way. Like, it is pretty much mansplaining in the feminist definition of the word, which I kind of find to be a little funny. But let's play the Terry of 2 years ago on why she left feminism and listen to what she had to say, because I have not listened to a single moment of this, like I said, beyond the little intro that she does.
Okay. Yeah, so the reason I'm doing this video is I do get quite a few comments pretty regularly, pretty much on every single video I upload anymore, asking me about this in some fashion. Like, can you do a video about how you changed your beliefs, or why your beliefs changed, or why you aren't a radical feminist anymore, or like, you know, different things related to pretty much asking the same question. So, or do you have a video up about this that maybe we could watch? And I don't have a video up about this because honestly, I haven't known how to talk about it. Sweetheart, what are you doing?
Uh-oh.
Don't you be messing up my desk. It's messed up enough.
We got cat antics.
So I figured, oh, why not give the public what they want? But honestly, I really haven't known how to discuss this matter, because it's not as if it's simple or I can point to one thing. You know, it's kind of a convoluted story. And it's like, I didn't come to these beliefs within a day. And, you know, they didn't leave me within a day. I had to go through a lot of experiences. And I am an experiential learner. I will say that about myself. I'm somebody who likes to jump into things and actually get my hands.
I mean, like, isn't that, well, I mean, everybody learns through experience to one degree or another, don't they? Like, at least in as far as, like, within the context of radicalization, you know, like, unless you really are just, which I don't think Terry ever was. I don't think that she was ever just somebody that, like, pretended like she was a radical and never actually did anything in the real world about it and never tried to get her opinions and views out there. I mean, that's obviously not true. She just put that out there earlier, right? Like the views that she was just articulating earlier contradict that notion entirely. So let's listen to more of this and more of her experiential learning, which
hands dirty to learn. That's how I learn best, just by doing. And I think that was part of my, draw to radical feminism. So in my youth, I was always attracted.
Wait, you were drawn to radical feminism because of experiential learning? Like, okay, so like, are you, so you mean that you were drawn to radical feminism because you wanted to experience what it was? Because, like, I'm sorry, but becoming a radical feminist because you wanted to know what radical feminism was like. Let me go back and make sure that I'm not misrepresenting that.
Just by doing. And I think that was part of my, draw to radical feminism.
Here, I need to go further back than that.
Why not give the public what they want? Honestly, I really haven't known how to discuss this matter because it's not as if it's simple or I can point to one thing. It's kind of a convoluted story, and it's like I didn't come to these beliefs within a day, and they didn't leave me within a day. I had to go through a lot of experiences, and I am an experiential learner. I will say that about myself. I'm somebody who likes to jump into things and actually get my hands dirty to learn. That's how I learn best, just by doing. And I think that was part of my, draw to radical feminism.
Yeah, that is what she said. Yeah, I'm not misrepresenting that at all. She's saying that she was drawn to radical feminism because she's an experiential learner and she wants to learn by doing things. I'm sorry, but like, that's a little dumb. That's a little dumb as an argument. If I'm going to learn about Nazism, right? Yeah, I might pick up a copy of Mein Kampf and read it in order to understand what Hitler is saying, but I'm also not going to go around goose-stepping, right? I'm not going to go around wearing an armband and saying, hey, everybody, it's me, Aiden, the National Socialist, right? Like, somebody clip that out of context, by the way. It's an open invitation to use that in the inevitable Aiden YouTube poop. But, yeah, like, to say that you're adopting the idea in order to get a better understanding of it, it's not really the best way of having a totality of understanding something. And that's kind of a good argument against the idea that having experienced something is inherently better than learning about it in a more outside context, right? Clipped. Thank you, BS Lewis. I appreciate it. BS, you'd better fucking do a YouTube poop. You better. You're contractually obligated. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to do another show with you. I'm absolutely going to do another show with you the next time you ask me. I immediately fold on shit like that with people that are my friends. You didn't hear that. I'm not going to do another show with you until you make a YouTube poop about me, BS. And make it as unflattering as possible. Like, I mean it. Like, like, do everything you can to just make me a depraved, horrible human being, please. There's plenty of content out there. You can make it happen. I know you can, BS. Well, let's listen to this some more.
So in my youth, I was always attracted to radical politics, beliefs. I was a member of a socialist organization before I became a radical feminist. And I ended up leaving that organization because I did have political differences, particularly around sex work and the trans issue. Now, this
here's where the beginning of the issues begin. Women being allowed to participate in sex work and people being able to transition in the context of their own bodies. Oh no! Heaven forbid. Isn't that interesting that those are the two first actual issues that have been articulated by her? As far as it now, that's more to do with socialism. I'll put it in its proper context because I'm not here to argue dishonestly. But let's face it, the first two prominent issues that she's actually brought up so far are sex work and trans issues. And it's like, okay, what's the problem with women or men participating in sex work, especially with the context in mind, as I'm sure you know, both now and back in the day, that if you make sex work illegal, isn't that the classic argument that right-wingers make for gun control? The whole argument that if you ban all guns, only criminals will have guns. And you know what? That's probably one of the most compelling, if not the most compelling arguments for the Second Amendment, and is why I'm not necessarily like somebody that's super anti-2A. I'm really not. I don't think I've ever really made much of an anti-2A sentiment known. I'm kind of anti people being able to carry fully automatic assault weapons with them. You know? Just on an everyday basis. I think that that's definitely something that maybe we can kind of tone down a little bit. But the ideas expressed in the Second Amendment and the idea that a populace ought to be able to carry arms, like, yeah, the argument that only criminals are going to have guns if you take away guns kind of does have a certain amount of merit to it, I think. Especially when you put it in the context of a society like America where so many guns already exist. Right? When you look at the United Kingdom, you're looking at a country where the amount of guns that were in the regular everyday circulation of the populace wasn't anywhere near as prolific as the amount of guns that are in the circulation of the populace in the United States. Already made this short. Thanks, Big Bad Mama. I appreciate it. But like, in America, everybody has a fucking gun. So yeah, in that context, there's a lot more of an argument to be made for everyday people being able to carry around guns. And I agree with that in the context of sex work too. Right? And the difference between guns and sex work is that sex work is something that's existed throughout human history at every stage, right? It's called the world's oldest profession for a reason. You know, unlike guns, which are a pretty modern aberration compared to the vast majority of our history, sex work has always been around in some capacity or another. So the argument that if you ban it in a legal capacity, people are still going to pursue it in an illegal one in just as much of a capacity, no matter where you are, is a lot more compelling for just that reason. Because it's always been there. It's always been a companion to the human condition. Right? So I disagree with the idea that sex work ought be banned and criminalized. That's kind of dumb. And I disagree with the idea that trans and transitioning ought be banned and criminalized. But let's listen to more of what she says.
This was, 12 years ago. So specifically the trans issue wasn't the cultural zeitgeist issue that it is now. But definitely I was picked out and singled out from this organization because of that specifically, and people were very angry with me for having different opinions or for stating that very basic kind of understandings.
Oh my gosh. It's the thing that you've always heard so many. It's like with Azo. It's the exact same story with Azo as well, right? I left because I felt excluded because I said something that was against the norm and a bunch of people got upset with me. And therefore, I felt so alienated that I wanted to leave. This is always what these people focus on when it comes to this, right? First and foremost, at the very least. Because the social connection to these people, the idea that I'm part of this group, I'm part of this tribe, I'm part of this organization, is more paramount to them in their minds than the actual ideas that are being expressed by those groups. I mean, how could it not be? I mean, this would be a totally illogical attack if this wasn't one of the first things that she was mentioning at the very jump of this argument, was the fact that, oh, I said some things that this group disagreed with, and then I felt excluded from the group, and that's why I left the group. Well, guess what? If the majority of the group felt like they disagreed with one of those ideas that you had, that doesn't make the rest of what they said wrong, does it? That doesn't inherently invalidate everything that they said.
Of, the fact that a man really didn't understand what a woman's experience is. Go figure.
Oh yeah, but unlike with the trans argument though, right? When a trans person comes to you and says that you can't understand the trans experience the way that they do, that's invalid. Give me a break.
So that kind of drew me into radical feminism. I also, honestly, and what I think a lot of it is about is I needed to do a lot of healing myself. I have been through a lot of difficult things in my youth, and I'd experienced a lot of the things that women go through in this world that
Lol giving a real nice speech on an old video. She put it out there for public consumption, Mod. What do you want from me? Like, if you're just going to sit here and get triggered just like you do all the other streams, then I don't know. Like, what do you want from me? She put it out there for public consumption, didn't she? She put these ideas out there on YouTube so that people can just look at them, right? And discuss them? Talk about them? No. That's not why you do it? Her views have changed. I'm looking at one that's aligned with her current views. I'm looking at a video of why she's no longer a feminist. And honestly, Mod, what is going to be more dishonest? Honestly, think about this for a second. Which one is going to be more dishonest? If I just play this without the context of what she used to think and what she used to feel and what she used to say? Would it be more dishonest for me to play this without that context in mind? No, because you're one of these people that likes to think that you can say whatever the hell you want, but just be divorced from the consequence of it. It's always freedom from speech. It's always freedom of speech, but also freedom of consequence with you. I'm sorry to say, but it's true. You always think, oh, I can go and say all these things and then regret saying them later, and then just go and delete all of that stuff, and then that just removes it all from human history. That just takes it all back forever and always. No, it doesn't. Okay? You're free to say whatever the hell you want. You're free to do whatever the hell you want. I would never disagree with that. But you know what you're not free from? You're not free from the consequences of your actions. Okay? You're not free from the consequences of what you say. And the same is true for her. I'm going to bring up what she said because what she said is important for the context of what she's saying now. She's just a person talking out there in her living room. Yeah, and I'm just a person too, aren't I? I'm not allowed to talk about what she put out there. I'm not allowed to talk about her thoughts and feelings on things. What, because it offends your personal sensibilities? Get the fuck out of here.
are not pleasant, you know, and it affected me. And it affected my view of the world. It affected my view of men and women. And it affected my view of myself. So finding this belief system that basically...
Yeah, you're being a real bully. You're absolutely true. Oh, okay. Actually looking at somebody's ideas and what they have to say and comparing and contrasting them, that's bullying now. Is that really the age that we live in? Is that really? Oh, we're the people that act like women, and we're the people that always act like we're triggered in your mind. But now just critiquing somebody's ideas is tantamount to bullying them. Give me a fucking break. Fuck off with that bullshit. Honestly, you're starting to trigger me now. Because that's such a fucking bullshit standard. I'm allowed to critique and criticize whoever the hell I want. And critiquing what they have to say is not tantamount to bullying. I literally took the time on like 2 or 3 occasions when I was covering her previous video to point out that I'm not bullying her because I'm not making any kind of personal attack. I'm not attacking her. I'm not attacking her appearance. I'm attacking her ideas. And I'm attacking well, not even attacking in that context, a comparison and a contrasting of ideas that a person holds and the changing of those ideas over time is not an attack. It's not bullying. That's ridiculous. Just like I said earlier, Maud, you are free to say whatever the hell you want. Nobody would ever take that away from you. But you know what you're not free from? You're not free from the consequences of your actions and the consequences of your words. Nobody is.
Validated all of the things I subconsciously believed was very comforting. It was very alluring. It was very attractive to me, and I dove right in.
Yes, you are. You took a 9-year-old video and picked it apart while Chad is roasting her looks. It's really gay. I mean, like, did you just conveniently forget? Did you just edit it out of your mind? The part where I literally told everybody to actually focus on what she's saying? Like, did that just not happen in your version of reality, Mod? This is the thing. All of your critiques that you're making right now are just totally ignorant of the actual fucking things that I've said on this stream. So for fucking once, as a bit of a change of pace, could you actually critique things based off of what I'm doing? Rather than based off of your conceptualization of what I'm doing? That would actually be a really nice change for once. Oh, I'm scared. I mean, who is trying to make you scared? If you're putting that out there, the fact that you feel intimidated enough to write that makes it feel like you are the only one that's intimidated by that, because I was certainly not trying to make you feel intimidated with anything I was saying. I don't know why I gave you that impression. Don't listen to Aiden. He's a National Socialist. I've seen the clip. It's true. It's true. Hold on. We've got it in the chat. We've got it in the chat. I'm going to look at this right now. Alrighty. You know what? I'm going to pull this down for just a second, and I'm going to play the clip. Right here. Live on air. This is the expose. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, but my YouTube career is over, and you're about to watch it end live on the air. Hey, everybody. It's me, Aiden, the National Socialist, right? Like, hey, everybody. Damn. Fuck. It's over, guys. It's literally over. It's actually factually over for me. I mean, like, critique of people's ideas, pfft, who cares about that? Quote mining, FTW. Am I right? Stands for the win. For all of you old people out there. Oh, wait, I guess acronyms have actually caught up to you people. It's been long enough that it's filtered down the generational funnel into your guys' generation. All right, let's go back. Let's go back. Dun, 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 back to the future. And keep playing this video live on the Aiden Linden YouTube channel.
You know, I was just obsessed and just committed. I had so much zeal. I had so much.
Hold on, I need to go back a little bit for context's sake.
I needed to do a lot of healing myself. You know, I had been through a lot of difficult things in my youth, and I'd experienced a lot of the things that women go through in this world that are not pleasant, you know, and it affected me. And it affected my view of the world. It affected my view of men and women, and it affected my view of myself. So finding this belief system that basically validated all of the things I subconsciously believed was very comforting. It was very alluring. It was very attractive to me. And I dove right in. You know, I was just obsessed and just committed. I had so much zeal. I had so much energy for it. And I began living very differently, you know, and it changed, you know, so much about how I was as a person. And I also, in many ways, was so hungry for this sense of sisterhood that, you know, I would read about or hear women talk about, like this feeling of connection to other women.
Right, but you're sitting here on one hand and critiquing that. You're critiquing the past behavior of yourself looking for that sisterhood, right? But then on the other hand, using that exact thing as an excuse for why you left. Because just a moment ago, it was all about how, oh, well, you know, I expressed certain ideas, and because I expressed those ideas, I started to feel excluded from the group, and that's one of the reasons why I left. You can't have your cake and eat it too, Terry. You can't say, oh, I was wrong for doing that, while also using the fact that that happened to you as a validation for why you left. Okay? Like, do you see the contradiction there? I hope you do.
That were in the struggle and that saw the world the same way as me. You know, I wanted that so badly. I never really found it, though. You know, that's the thing. And I think eventually the disillusionment came from that because, you know, my cat's going off, of course, because anytime I talk about anything real or deep, you know, hey, how about you come visit with me if you think that? There are 15 people watching this, but I've got 3 comments. Come on, y'all, and 1 like. Hello.
See, Terry knows what it's all about. Terry knows what it's all about. You gotta give her credit where it's due. She's a stream saleswoman. She knows how to peddle it. Mad respect, Terry. That's how you do it.
You know how YouTube works. Come on. Like the video, comment.
That's just what you should do on this stream as well, by the way. She's saying that.
Yeah, I never really found that. You know, I would have friendships with certain women, and the more extreme I got, the like closer those relationships felt. You know, the more people that we didn't like together, the more connected I felt to these women, basically. But that really deep feeling of acceptance, it never came, because honestly, like who I was never.
So that's kind of the thing I'm getting out of this here, is that let's just compare and contrast here, right? Because earlier, the video where Terry was talking about this while she was a radical feminist, she was literally talking about how that sense of belonging, that sense of community that she was feeling, like how like as a radical, that's never going to happen. How we're never going to be mainstream, and how that's okay, and how we as the dreamers and as the radicals, it's our job, in spite of how popular or unpopular we are, to keep pushing and demanding for these things, and to keep pushing the envelope forward, because that's our role in society. It's very idea driven when Terry's a radical feminist. But now that she's leaving feminism, it's not about the ideas anymore. It's about the exact thing that as a feminist she was abhorring. Now all of a sudden it's about, oh, I just wanted to feel belonged. I just wanted to feel in a community. Well, which one is true, Terry? Were you lying back then when you were a feminist? Were you lying about your priorities, and actually deep down you just were actually doing it because you wanted to feel like you were in a community of people, because you wanted a sense of belonging and sisterhood, which, by the way, kind of invalidates everything you were just saying earlier. All that fucking based ass shit you were saying about race realism and all that stuff about how women ought to be treated better in society and the women's movement, all that shit. Did you say all that because you genuinely believed it? Or did you say that because you wanted to feel like you belonged somewhere? That's really what I'm wondering about all of this. Because you have to be lying one of the two ways. Either you're lying right now in this video that I'm covering right now, and that isn't the reason why you left feminism, or you were lying back then, because they both can't simultaneously be true. Right? You can't be sitting there on camera talking about your ideas and talking about how it doesn't matter how popular you are as long as you keep pushing that envelope, because that's your job. And also have in the back of your mind, oh, I'm only doing this because I'm here for sisterhood and because I have a sense of belonging here. Those both can't coincide. So which one is it? This is the thing. Whenever these people talk about leaving these movements, it all of a sudden shifts from talking about ideas to talking about belonging and togetherness. And hey guys, don't you feel so much more cushy and comfy when I'm in this community compared to the other one? Well, how cushy and comfy you feel is fucking irrelevant to how right or wrong the ideas are. All right?
Are really acceptable, you know? I learned that pretty much early on, and I think that was part of my experience specifically. I mean, I figured out very early on at the time, you know, I became kind of interested in this stuff. I had identified as bisexual for many years. I found out that that was not acceptable. You know,
you found out that that was not acceptable? Huh? Oh my God, you poor girl. Oh, you poor woman. What did they do to you? Like, what the fuck? You found out that wasn't acceptable. Why? Because the Bronze Age Book of Myth and the people that peddled the Bronze Age Book of Myth told you that wasn't acceptable? Hey, Terry, fuck what you actually feel in your own mind. Fuck what you actually feel within your own experience. That's unacceptable. You need to abandon and deny that aspect of yourself, because if you don't, you're going to go to the big spookily danger fireplace and burn for all eternity. God, what a great fucking ideology. What a great way of thinking, to deem how you feel within your own life as unacceptable. Jesus. Insert sneeze-looking joke here. Thank you, BS. Injecting the levity that is so desperately needed at times like this. Look, if you want to take me having this tone of voice as me like being bullying or being mean, then go ahead, because I'm sure that anybody that accuses me of being bullying or mean on this stream isn't actually going to bring up any tangible fucking examples. They're just going to go off the vibe TM, right? They're just going to go off of my feels rather than what was actually said. But you know why I'm having this tone? It's because I'm exacerbated about this. I really am. This is just such a... It's such a genuinely frustrating thing to watch people have to go through, where they have to deny themselves and they have to self-efface and they have to cordon themselves off to make themselves more acceptable to another group of people.
You didn't really have a place, especially in the more radical circles of feminism. So, you know, I decided that I would just identify as a lesbian. I would cut men out of my life, you know, except, you know, those relationships that I really couldn't cut.
That's, Terry, come on. Really? You just decided one day that you're just going to become a lesbian? That's really how it worked? Really? You're really going to tell me? That's so self-effacing to yourself. You really mean to tell me that a woman as intelligent as yourself just woke up one day in your past and was like, you know what? I'm just going to go and eat pussy now because that's convenient for me and that's more socially acceptable. No. Okay? You felt that way and you decided that that was unacceptable in order to fit into another group of people. People don't just wake up one day and decide that they just like another group of people. That's not how that works. But it's better to efface yourself in the past, right? It's okay when you efface yourself in the past because that's old Terry. This is the new Terry. This is the new bog standard socially acceptable Terry. Like, you literally in the video I just covered was talking about how social acceptance is irrelevant to how right an idea is and how it needs to still be pushed. And here you are talking about how you're no longer bisexual because you realized it was unacceptable. What a nightmare.
About like family members or, you know, coworkers, that kind of thing. But I would keep those relationships superficial to a minimum, you know, and that was really all very wild. My cat is going wild, y'all. He's not enjoying me talking about this stuff.
He's protesting.
He was sleeping when I came on live too. Okay, so that just tells you.
Base protester. He's like, no, Terry, don't sell out. Go back. It's like, Terry, there's still a chance. You don't have to give up who you are and claim that you just woke up one day and felt like you were a lesbian for the sake of trying to join a different community and hop on a different bandwagon. Don't do that. There's values and principles and sticking true to who you really are.
No, I'm kicking up the energies right now. He's got to do his patrols and go crazy. Oh, that's nasty. Hello, ponderous bug. So, yeah, that's all of it's fine. All of the things these were all choices I made of my own volition. I really loved discovering and uncovering women's history through like reading women's writings, specifically from
BS bringing the racist Asian humor that we all really needed. Thank you, BS. I appreciate it. Let's keep going.
The women's liberation movement. And I think that stuff, a lot of it is so eye-opening, awakening.
You know what? That's the funny double standard, though, isn't it, Mod? In your view, in your worldview, she's just a woman in her living room talking, and I'm not just a guy talking about that. I'm not just a guy in my house talking about my ideas and my point of view. There's got to be something insidious behind it, in my point, right? There's got to be something insidious behind my verse. No. All right? Just the same as she's just sitting there talking about her ideas, I'm using this as a springboard to talk about my ideas. Right? And don't get me wrong, I appreciate the fact that she's given me that opportunity. Thank you very much, Terry. I appreciate that. She's not talking about you. She's talking about herself. Obviously, she's talking about herself. And I'm saying that in just the same manner, Missing Mod, I'm just a dude, aren't I? Aren't I also just a dude sitting here just talking about stuff? Oh, wait, I'm talking about somebody's ideas. But you're going to make it out like I'm talking about her as though I'm trying to tear her down. No, I'm talking about her ideas and what she is articulating right now. And I'm comparing them between each other. Am I not allowed to do that now, Mod? Am I not? Are you here? Are you the stream police? You going to arrest me and pull me over because I'm not allowed to critique ideas as long as they come from somebody that you like, and therefore they should just be sacrosanct from any form of criticism whatsoever? Trying to make her look like a hypocrite. You see, this is the classic Missing Mod. I'm trying to make her look like. All I did was compare her ideas. She's the one that articulated the difference in ideas, Mod. I don't have to make her look like anything. She's the one that articulated in one video, one set of things, and then went around and articulated something completely different and used a completely different set of standards to justify why she felt that way. That is completely contradictory to what she said before. I'm going to send a social worker on your ass. How about that, Mod? B.S. Lewis? Get over there.
And that to me really, I mean, feminism itself, I see it as being very separate from that movement in many ways, because women's liberation was so much more than what feminism became, you know, what became known as feminism, like, which is just this ideology. And it seemed to me like liberation really was about liberation. It was about actually changing our material lives, like changing the conditions we were in. That's right, Ponderous Pug. Bisexuality is unacceptable. And, you know, I perpetrated that to myself too. Like, I didn't want to have anything to do with those women. I had a lot of
bisexuality is unacceptable. You see what I'm saying? Like, and this is the same person, by the way, who not too long ago, when questioned about that, it was all like, oh, well, people are allowed to do that in their own lives. Well, according to you, it's unacceptable. So, hey, whatever. I don't want her to feel bad. You know what, Mod? Sorry, but critique is a natural part of anybody's life. You don't have any problem going on your show and fucking critiquing me. You don't have any problem doing that whatsoever. And I don't have any problem with you doing that in principle either. But that doesn't mean that you're allowed to go on here and then bitch and complain about me for critiquing somebody when you don't have a problem doing the exact same thing. Oh, Aiden doesn't run his show properly. All Aiden wants to talk about is left-wing talking points. That's all Aiden's interested in talking about. You're okay criticizing me. Criticizing my show, that's perfectly fine. But if I go criticize other people, that's off the table. I see how it is. You'd be doing this? Well, I would tell you not to. How does that sound? If you were there trying to white knight for me, if somebody was sitting here right now on the stream, right, and they were picking apart my ideas, if I said something that was completely different, like if you pull up a video of me, Mod, like 5 years ago, and if I was saying a whole bunch of right-wing talking points 5 years ago, and a whole bunch of things that fundamentally contradicted what I was saying right now, if that existed, then somebody would be well within their rights to pull that up and go, wow, Aiden's somebody that likes to act like he's on the left and push all these left-wing talking points, and yet here he is all this time ago articulating these points. And his reasoning for why he changed ideologies doesn't even really make sense in terms of being consistent with what he said earlier. Like, that's just not allowed. Give me a break. That's silly. You're being silly. You're a silly person. Gonna ruffle your hair, you lovable little scamp. What the hell? Give you a propeller hat. Spin the little propeller on top. Woo! Little rascal. Get out of here.
Friends who are like, you know, closet bisexuals in that community too. Like, and you know, whatever. I mean, if a woman makes a positive choice to only choose to relate to one sex or the other, I mean, I think that's the case in a lot of bisexuals overall. I mean, I don't think anywhere is really, I don't want to go off on a tangent about like biphobia or something. And I don't really care, honestly, because I don't even really, not my identity.
You don't care? You just cited it as one of the reasons that you left the movement. What do you mean you don't care? Obviously you care. You wouldn't have cited it in this conversation if you didn't care about it. But once again, it's that classic, I want to have my cake and eat it too. I'm going to talk about this thing, but then also simultaneously act like I don't care about it. No, sorry. It's one or the other.
Identity is so far removed from any of this stuff anymore, like honestly. But I will say, like, within mainstream queer or gay or lesbian, you know, like there's no such thing as an LGBT community. Let's just get that straight. I think most of the people watching are going to understand what I say when I.
Then what community were you talking about? When you were talking about being critical of trans issues and stuff like that, then what community, what group of people were you talking about getting removed from then? It's all an amorphous, it's all a monolith one moment, and then it's not a monolith the next. Okay, what's it morphed into now?
I say what I'm saying when I say that. You know, lesbians and gays are generally very distrustful and hostile to bisexuals for legitimate and illegitimate reasons. And, you know, there's not really a community there. Lesbians and gay men don't generally have community with one another. And the trans thing is a whole other fucking, you know, whole other thing. And
what does this have to do with why you left feminism? okay, hold on a minute. I've been watching this video for 11 minutes and 42 fucking seconds. And what have the actual criticisms of the feminist movement been? Exactly. The criticisms of the feminist movement were, I felt excluded because I said some things. And there's not really any kind of community there, even though there's an impression that there is. Like, I'm not even not giving you a fair shake here, girl. I'm more than 10 minutes in here, and you really haven't said anything as far as actual criticism of the feminist movement. Can we get to that, please?
Sometimes these things can intersect, but really it's not as if these people are all hanging out together like in one happy family. And I've always found that term really irritating, you know, over the years, because it would always be, well, as a member of the LGBT community, how can you discriminate? Like, because I'm a person, because everybody, oh, hi, Marty, because everybody, you know, discriminate.
Because you're a person and therefore you're allowed to? Okay, well then why was it a big deal that you got kicked out of that group of people then? If that's in fact true, if you're just a person and just being a person is all that matters, that's kind of starting to echo back into the sentiments of what you were talking about 9 years ago, Terry. But once again, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't say, oh, well, I'm just a person, and then use the fact that you were excluded from a group of people as a reason for why you left.
Discriminates because that's human nature. Humans are discriminatory. We make choices, we judge, and then we discern what we like and what we don't like. That's who we are.
Become a Christian and change your core values. You know, that's the thing, Big Bad Mama. Because, like, if I just suddenly became a Christian overnight, right? I would have to fundamentally reevaluate all of these different tenets. All of these very specific different things in my worldview would have to be changed very fundamentally in order to go from being an atheist into being a Christian. I'd have to believe that the Bible is true. I would have to believe that there is some sort of reason for why we haven't been able to archaeologically verify the Bible for huge swaths of it. I would have to go into passages that describe things like the flat earth and try to justify those, and then I'd have to justify slavery in the biblical context, and I'd have to just literally have to unpack all of these little ideas and somehow make them all mesh together in order to then switch over my ideas over to this other way of thinking. And that's why I'm so baffled at this video, is because Terry would have had to have done the exact same thing in order to switch from being a radical feminist to being the way she is right now. And what has she actually done in terms of actually establishing what has changed in terms of those little ideologies, in terms of those little points within her ideology, right? She hasn't done anything to actually evaluate those points and unpack them whatsoever. It's been extremely vague. It's been the most generalized things that she could talk about and articulate with this. And I just find that to be really fascinating in the context of what I just talked about. I'm beginning to understand Terry better while watching this. If she backs down on any Republican point, she feels like she's going back to her previous self. Things do change when you become a Christian, but I haven't heard these reasonings yet, really. Wait, are you agreeing with Aiden? Oh boy. We got a fight brewing over here in the side chat. Everybody get ready. Get your popcorn made. There's a fight a brewing over here in the Aiden Linden side chat. I don't know, though. Like, if that really is the case, Terry, right? Like, if you really genuinely do believe that feminism, radical feminism, is just bunk, and you've left it, then I want to hear specific points about radical feminism and why they're not true, and why you have now realized why they're not true. And I would do the same thing for somebody that switched either from atheist to Christian or vice versa. Well, why? What do you think about this now compared to before? Why do you believe that? And that's pretty reasonable when you make a swing that radical, isn't it? I think that's pretty damn reasonable, if you ask me.
So anyway, I went off on a tangent there, but I think I got sucked in so deeply because there was this deep hunger within me for healing as a woman, you know, and I didn't find it through this, you know, no belief system that cuts you off from yourself and cuts you off from your feelings and also cuts you off from like half of humanity.
You mean like a belief system that tells you that your sexuality is unacceptable, right? You mean a belief system like that, right? Like a belief system that cuts you off from aspects of yourself and tells you that even though you feel that way about those things, that that's a bunch of bullshit and you need to fundamentally change how you feel in order to become acceptable to a certain group of people, or become acceptable to this cosmic God that created the entire universe and everything within it, but also somehow cares about whether or not you like pussy or like dick. Like, really? Like...
is going to ultimately heal you, you know? And I had this mindset that was so much based in my own unwillingness to deal with what had happened to me as a woman, you know, and to really figure out how to transcend and overcome those things. And I feel like it kept me, I feel like it's so interesting because I was about 25 when I got into all of that stuff, you know, when I really became immersed in the...
Damn, I'm 25 right now. Holy shit. That kind of puts the timeline into perspective. Holy fuck. I'm in my radical Terry era right now. Damn. Maybe a decade from now, I will just totally sell out ideologically. Who knows?
Radical feminist belief system, ideology, thinking that way. And it stayed with me for so many years. And I feel like in that time, I just was like on this hamster wheel and I was doing so much and getting nowhere. And I was in pain, y'all. I remember like thinking back now, videos I did. And even at the time, I recognized like videos I was recording, like lives, even talking about these like really intense things. And I was like struggling in pain, like as I'm talking about these things. And not because it was like so, you know, deep or real. And of course, parts of it were real. And it's not as if my beliefs have totally shifted. You know, it's not as if I believed all of these things and suddenly I don't see the truth in them, or I don't see the...
Well, then how about you get into specifics? Like, once again, we're now 15 minutes just shy. 15 minutes into this video. And there has not been one specific actual thing, not one specific talking point that has actually been articulated here as to why she left the movement. And if I'm wrong about that, by the way, if I'm just mischaracterizing that, then somebody tell me in the side chat. In 10 years, you'll be Canadian MAGA. Oh, yeah, Big Bad, make Canada great again. You know, Big Bad Mama, all I'm telling you is that these Inuits, they're kind of suspicious. They're acting a little suspicious. You know, I'm usually, it's not to say I changed all my ideological views, Big Bad Mama. Yeah, I still believe some of the things I believed before, but them Inuits, I don't know about them. What the hell, Aiden? Are you a radical Canadian now? Oh, no, I'm just joking. Oh, no. That's just a voice that I do for the character that I play on the internet. I didn't sell out. It's just a joke. Oh, my gosh. Aiden, don't forget that I took over that one guy's pirate ship years ago. Captain who? Captain Beep! Captain what? Captain when? Jack Daniels? I don't see what's the last part of what you said there. I don't really like Jack Daniels. I don't think so. Aiden thinks he's capped on change. Hell the fuck no, Missing Mod. Hell the fuck no. I'm not acting like I'm never going to change as a person. But you'd better fucking believe that if... Just showing that light of the Holy Spirit, aren't you, Missing Mod? Just really showing that light of the Holy Spirit off to everybody in the side chat, aren't you? Give me that old time religion. Give me that missing situation. Give me that old time religion. And it's good enough for me. No, I definitely don't think I'm capped on change. But you'd better believe if I made a video one day about, like, why I'm no longer critical of the right wing, you better believe I'm going to lay out very specific reasoning as to why that's the case. I'm going to lay out specific policies from political ideologies. I'm going to lay out a timeline of where I was with those things. Like, I'm going to do more than just be like, yeah, the vibe is kind of off, therefore I'm not a part of this anymore. Mod raise, oh my god, like some sort of wizardly spell. Like something straight out of Lord of the Rings. Mod said raise him up, and everybody from the chat instantly ran. It was like that, it's like that thing in Exodus where the angel of death comes in and kills all the firstborn children. She put that in there, and she was just like, you know what? Fuck Aiden's chat. Everybody's gone now. Everybody go away. Nobody's here anymore. That's all right. I'll keep persevering irregardless of that. I just, you know what? The primary reason why I'm going to honestly keep watching this at this point is just to see if she actually does get into any specifics. Because I don't want to just say, oh, she never got into any kind of specifics, therefore Holy Spirit scared everyone. No. He killed them, Mod. You need to understand. The Holy Spirit didn't scare every firstborn child in Egypt. Okay? Everybody that didn't have lamb's blood on their doorpost is dead now from the side chat. And you killed them. I just wanted you to know that. Like, you know, much like how in the Bible the onus is on God that he killed them. No, you killed them. It was you bringing about this calamity that caused it to happen. So you think about that for a moment, Missing Mod. All the blood on your hands. People don't like when I talk about Mark. No, we just think you have a really weird parasocial relationship with Mark. That's all, Missing Mod. That's all. It's not that we don't like it. It's just we look at you when you talk about Mark the same way that the guy ranting in front of the 7-Eleven. I'd look at him in a similar way. Right. Right, that's all I'm saying.
Value in them, I do, but like for me it was about kind of coming back to myself overall and kind of confronting like you've let, and this is when I really started to have these conversations with myself and really started to become aware of what had happened.
Oh, maybe this is something specific. Maybe we're getting into something specific. There's actually might be some meat on this bone, on this proverbial bone, because that'd be great. I really haven't had a lot of fodder to argue against in this video, so can you please give me something, Terry? It would be appreciated.
Let all of these worldly things, all of these things outside of me define me. And once I began to realize that, I realized how I needed to start to take off
all these worldly things outside of you, kind of like Donald Trump, kind of like the Republican Party, kind of like right-wing politics, kind of like that. I don't know. Kind of like that. Oh, but that's not worldly. Obsessing over right-wing politics and using right-wing racial dog whistles and all that kind of stuff. That's not getting bogged down with worldly things. Not at all. No. I'm sure all the monks on Mount Athos are busy talking about the $7,000 Jeffrey Epstein was giving to people, and now that's definitely totally not a racial dog whistle. It's just a joke, guys. Like, come on now. Come on. Once again, having your cake and eat it too, girl. You can't do that.
Labels, start to take off all the baggage, because it's not who I am. And it really was a harsh awakening. And there were so many steps along the way of just this thing happening, this, or going through I think I mentioned the hamster wheel thing. I had the same experiences with the same people over and over again. And yet I still chose to put myself in those situations, because it was the, correct thing to do. And then of course there were a few events that happened.
Like what? Like what? What are you saying right now? You're just like, okay, I'm going to go back a second and maybe I just missed it. You know what? Let's just give this another chance. Maybe I missed it.
The hamster wheel thing. I had the same experiences with the same people over and over again. And yet I still chose to put myself in those situations, because it was the, correct thing to do. And then
isn't that literally the definition of actually having an adherence to an ideological belief that you really believe in? I know that you're quote unquoting that right now, that's somehow not actually true, that was the right thing to do. But being committed to those things, what you're talking about right now, you're using that in almost a dismissive tone. But that is what you're supposed to do as somebody who believes in an ideology, is adhere to it no matter how popular or unpopular it is, and no matter how many of the same experiences you have over and over again. You're not supposed to prop yourself up like some kind of martyr because, oh, I went and did the same experiences over and over again because I thought it was right. Yeah, that kind of comes with the territory of being a radical, isn't it? It's adherence to those things, irregardless of them.
Of course, there were a few events.
But once again, I'm going to go back one more time.
Because it's not who I am. And it really was a harsh awakening. And there were so many steps along the way of just this thing happening, this, or going through I think I mentioned the hamster wheel thing. I had the same experiences with the same people over and over again. And yet I still chose to put myself in those situations.
The same experiences, the same people. What experiences? With what people? What are you talking about right now, Terry? And don't tell me that it's something that she's just super uncomfortable talking about, because she's the one that's felt the need to go out here and put this video out. Right? If she's here to tell the truth about what happened and about how she's different now compared to then why is it being described in the vaguest terms possible? It's because there's no actual real argument here as to why the shift happened. There's no actual substance to it.
Because it was the, correct thing to do. And then of course there were a few events that happened that really kind of shook me more than others, where I started to get paranoid. Okay. And some of this was probably due to smoking too much cannabis, honestly, which I I will say I've
I
been
mean, that can happen. Like, unironically, that can happen. I have known people that get into really bad paranoid episodes, and cannabis-induced psychosis is a thing that can happen if you smoke a whole bunch of weed over a really long period of time. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. It can happen. But I don't think that it was quite that bad. But you know what? I'll give you credit where it's due. That could have happened. You could have gotten paranoid due to cannabis. That's the first actual thing that I've heard, though, this entire time. As far as a cause and effect kind of like description, how far are we into this now? We're 16 minutes and 44 seconds in, and only now am I starting to hear about specific things. Are you listening, Bod? Oh, damn. Damn, what are you trying to say with that, BS? BS throwing that down. And by down, I mean he's throwing the fucking gauntlet. Better reply to that, missing mod. More like missing fraud, am I right? She'll definitely reply to that. Definitely.
off of for several months now, and that has been really nice, honestly. And obviously, like, I don't want to get into that too much. Obviously, I was taking it for medicinal reasons, but the thing about it is it's one of those drugs that slowly creeps over you and begins to affect your thinking without you even being aware of it because it is so mild.
I mean, I could actually kind of agree with that too. I think there's definitely an argument to be made for that. I think that if you become dependent on weed, like if you're literally smoking it because you like feel like you need to get through the day with it, then you've definitely gotten to a point where it has kind of creeped over you and has gotten a larger hold and influence over you than what you initially thought that it had. Like, that can definitely be true. So you know what? So far, this is the first actual thing that she's talked about. And so far, I'm agreeing with her. So Aiden's probably just high when he thinks Trump is out to get Canada. You're right, BS. Every time that I've ever talked about things that are going on right now, it's just weed-induced psychosis. I mean, Maud's an expert on that, isn't she? Hold on. Damn it. I didn't have the sound effect ready. No. Well, now I need to do the other one. Yeah, there's the one. But I meant to do... Oh, where is it? No. 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 Also no. Oh, I thought that there was going to be a... I thought there was a sound effect in there that there wasn't. Since her reasons are valid and you agree with them, does this mean that you're going to switch to her right now? No! What I'm saying is that the only reasons that she's given for why she left that was because she felt paranoid, and she felt paranoid because she smoked cannabis. And it's like, okay, I agree that you could have felt paranoid because you were smoking a lot of weed. Like, that's definitely possible. Like, that's the sum total of what she said. So, I mean, like, if that's an articulation of a really good reason for why she left, I guess so far I'm with her, but I don't really necessarily see the inherent connection that marijuana has with feminism either. You know, like, I know a lot of feminists that do smoke weed, but I don't think that that's like a requirement in order to be a feminist, right? Like, you weren't smoking weed yesterday. You've had your feminism card revoked. Kind of fits the weed motif. That's true, B.S. Lewis. It is the official restaurant of stoners everywhere. That is undeniable. By the way, if you're like Maud and you're secretly enjoying this stream, even though you're pretending like you hate it, make sure to give the stream a like. That would be much appreciated. And let's keep going with this, because maybe there's more to this. Maybe it's not just I smoked weed and I felt paranoid. There's got to be more to it, surely, right?
So I do want to say this to people as well, like, that I was getting paranoid. And I had reasons to be paranoid as well, because my political activism was sabotaged multiple times. Like, I had very creepy experiences that I don't want to get into too much, but
like, okay, that's really, and as far as all the earlier things that you said, that's really all the context you'd need to say for me to go like, okay, fair enough. But like, this is the first time after 15 minutes of being vague that you've actually addressed why you're being vague, and it wasn't to address any of the other things that you just brought up. It's only just now that you're bringing up, oh, I don't want to talk about this particular subject because it's kind of creepy. Okay, fair enough. You don't want to talk about it because it's creepy. At least you took the time in this instance to explain that rather than just kind of sweeping it under the rug and pretending like there was somehow an argument there.
There's a lot of things going on within the general like radical feminist milieu that are not anything I want anything to do with, you know. And I started to kind of trigger this as well. Like looking at it critically, I was stressing myself out for what? You know, putting myself in these positions. And, you know, I
for what? What do you mean for what? Is that really what this was all about? Were you trying to get something out of being, because let me tell you something, girlfriend. All right. If you were trying to be a leftist because you were trying to get something out of it, then yeah, you were in it for the wrong reasons. That's like the penultimate, like, that's like somebody saying, oh man, this grill didn't work properly. And then you're like, okay, well, how did you try to assemble it? Well, you know, I just kind of bashed the pieces together haphazardly, like Homer Simpson does in that one episode, and just kind of like poured the concrete all around willy-nilly. And the grill didn't work out. I don't, you know, it's a piece of garbage. No. Maybe the reason is because you had your priorities in the wrong place. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier, right? Are you lying then? Or are you lying now? Because when I looked at your video earlier, and this is one of the reasons why, even though Maud was crying about it, I brought up her earlier video. It's because she expressed specific ideas in that video. And one of those ideas was that what you get out of it isn't something to be lauded. As a matter of fact, she talked about how, oh, you know, when I get a lot of views, you know, it makes me happy, but at the same time, it really doesn't. Because then I'm inundated with all these people that don't take the time to understand me or understand what I'm saying. She's expressing these ideas like she isn't in it for anything, like for any kind of gain. She's in it to try and express the ideas and push the ideas forward and push the envelope forward. And now here she is going, well, what did I get out of it? Like, what the fuck?
made like really bizarre like choices, like trusting women who I didn't even know at all.
Oh my God, trusting strangers. There's nothing in the Bible about taking strangers into your home and feeding them and clothing them and giving them charity or anything like that, right? Oh my God, trusting people you didn't even know. That's so unbiblical. So un-Christ-like to do that. Gosh, what were you thinking, Terry?
You know, without ever really vetting them because, you know, we were part of some, you know, special sisterhood. Like it was.
That's true. I'm sure that the 12 apostles vetted the people that they brought into their homes and fed and gave charity. I'm sure they were like, excuse me, can I please get a report from your social worker dictating your offenses within the last 6 to 8 weeks? Like, I'm sure that's what happened back during 70 AD, right? No, I'm pretty sure they weren't doing that.
It's all so, you know, traumatizing in and of itself. And, you know, and some of those choices of women I made.
Being around women that you didn't know and trusting them was traumatic. Like, and this is just the thing. Like, if you're going to get into this and you're going to talk about it like this, right? I'm not ignoring you. I'm not ignoring you. You are very valid, Aiden's Ignored Rice. Listen here, Aiden's Ignored Rice. You might think in your mind that I'm not out there watching, but I am. I am. I'm always here. Fun fact, free climber Alex Honnold was an atheist. Interesting. Interesting. Thank you for the fun fact of the day, Claude. I appreciate it. Shut up, liberal. Shut up, liberal.
To trust and to meet and to spend time with, like, eternally grateful. I mean, I even have women commenting here that, like, I wouldn't have known without being involved in this thing. But, like, on the other end of it, like, I met some really scary women, y'all. I drew really unhealed women to me as well who.
And it's like, okay, you met scary people. Do you think that when they fed and clothed the people, like when Jesus fed people with the loaves and the fishes, that every single one of those people was a good, upright, upstanding person? Do you think all of these people that are like in Christian soup kitchens feeding these people, giving them shelter for the night, do you think that they're giving shelter only to the nice people that aren't scary looking? Like, this is what's kind of baffling to me, It's like, why are you using an unchrist-like argument for why you left what you just called an unchrist-like? Well, you didn't directly call it unchrist-like, but you're certainly implying through things like, oh, well, there are lesbians there and bisexuals, and that's unacceptable. You're certainly implying that that's not keeping with Christian values, right? So I don't see how you can peddle this notion that, oh, I was around scary people as a reason for why you left feminism. Because, like, yeah, the meek and the downtrodden aren't exactly known for being the most upstanding. I've never met a woman that isn't scary. They bleed a week, a month, and they don't die. That's very true. Very true, BS. That is very scary. Blood clenching stuff. I have not seen it, Claude, but I will definitely have to check it out at some point. Replying to Cherry Strange was not on my bingo card, but here we are. Hey, here we are indeed, Sophia of Athens. I don't know. I'm not replying to it because, like, I have a vendetta or anything like that. I'm replying to it because it came up in my feed, like I said, and I thought that it would be interesting to discuss. And so far, it's made for pretty decent fodder. I mean, like, 9 people are here watching it. So I'm going to give it a little bit more time, okay? I'm going to give it about the same amount of time that I gave Terry's. Well, actually, I've given it more time than I gave Terry's previous video. Because I'm really looking for specific reasons for why she left this movement. So, I don't know. Let's keep digging, I guess.
You know, that's all I could do. You know, I wasn't in any way working on healing myself or dealing with the issues that the baggage I had. So, like, what kind of people were going to come into my life anyway? Like, the people that only could really meet me where I was at. And, you know, it gets scary sometimes. And obviously.
Okay, so you needed to do some heal. Okay, so there's a little bit more actual, like, substance to work with here, right? You needed to take some time and you needed to do some personal healing and you needed to work some things out for yourself. And that's like, okay, fair enough. That time comes in almost anyone's life, right? Where they reach an impasse with things and they feel like they need to do a reevaluation and they just need to kind of take a look. They need to take a step back. But to say I needed to do that and that people weren't only going to meet me where I was at as a criticism for why you left this ideology, it's like, okay, would you have stayed in the ideology if they had, in an inhuman sense, knew that you were going through those struggles and articulated that they understood those things and met you where you weren't at? Like, I just don't quite understand. How is you going through those things, which is completely valid? Everybody goes through them, like I said. I'm not trying to invalidate that part of what you're saying at all. But if indeed you're going through those things, how does that just inherently mean that the people that were your allies in that community, how are their ideas any more or less right because of that? Is really what I'm trying to say here.
Obviously, like, I had some relationships as well with women that were just, you know, I don't know how to say this, like, because it's not generally acceptable to say this within the radical feminist community, but like, those women were more traumatizing to me than any man had ever been that I had, like, been romantically involved.
What did they do? Like, I'm not even, like, asking you to get into, like, super specifics. If it was, like, an issue that is, like, really personal to you, then I'm not asking you to, like, get into every little detail about things. But if you're really going to use this as a reason for why, right, then surely there's got to be a little bit more to it than just, oh, I felt traumatized by these people. Like, I don't think that's unreasonable of me to say. If you're going to come out here with these things and put this out there as an explanation, then I would think that you would at least take the time to make it a decent explanation.
Or with before, you know, those women were so, like, not every woman, obviously, I don't want to say that, but some of them were just, like, so frightening, so unhinged, unreal, like, and they, you know, saw me as some kind of savior. You know, that was another thing too. Like, so many people and women wanted me to, like, rescue them or save them, and I was, like, struggling, you know.
Okay. So once again, like, we're talking about, you're talking about inter-community relations, right? You're talking about specific people within this community putting pressure on you and making you feel a specific way, and that they put the onus on you to be a savior. Once again, I'm not hearing criticism of the ideas of radical feminism or feminism, period, quite frankly. I'm just hearing your personal gripes that you had with individuals within that community. And I'm sorry, but that's just bullshit. Okay? The idea that you felt that way, then don't interact with that part of the community, Terry. But to act like, oh, well, their ideas are just all bunk and bullshit because they made me feel uncomfortable and they bullied me, and maybe they did do really fucking shitty things to you. I'm not even going to doubt that, right? But if they did those things to you, then you get whatever justice and or closure you can with those people, and you go and find another group of people that you can continue that fight with. Or you continue that fight by yourself, because according to your rhetoric earlier, the amount of popularity that you have doesn't matter. What's penultimate is the rightness of your ideas and the pushing of those ideas, irregardless of how popular or unpopular they are. But I'm not hearing anything about ideas from you right now. At all.
I didn't have my life together. I didn't have myself together. And, you know, dealing with quite serious issues in my own personal life, specifically around my health as well. And it just kind of, like I said, I just felt like I was in hell. I was in this nonstop hamster wheel of doing the same thing over and over again and expecting it to go differently.
You know what? The way that I view this, right? I would accept this kind of rhetoric if you were talking about like a bingo club, right? If you're talking about a bingo club, if you were talking about a group of gals that you go to bowling with every night, right? If you were talking about something like that, and you were saying, well, you know, the group became really toxic and they put a lot of pressure on me, and I felt because of that pressure that I just really couldn't coexist with that group of people anymore, then okay, that's all well and good and fair enough. But according to you, in the previous video, these ideas transcend that, right? The idea of women's liberation, the idea of women's freedom, the idea that we need to keep pushing the envelope for women and for other people of different races and to try and diminish the racial inequality that exists within society, right? All of those things transcend that in terms of importance, but that's not what you're talking about right now. Apparently, all of those things have now taken a back seat. And you know, while you're healing, right? While you're taking the time to work on yourself and do all of those things. Hey, by the way, Jimmy Tux, welcome to the show. Hope you're doing well. BS sent me. Well, I'm glad that you're here. Thank you so much, Jimmy. I appreciate it. Aiden, say hello to Tux. I will say hello to Tux. I'm not trying to ignore him. Everybody's welcome. Everybody is welcome. But like that's the sum total of why I'm frustrated with this, right? Is because you used to be very idea driven, and right now it seems like you're very emotion driven. And that's not to say that emotions don't have their place. Of course they do. But they don't have a place in whether something is right or wrong. They don't have a place on whether or not an ideology is pardon me, just stumbling all over my words here. Whether an ideology is actually correct. And I'm not hearing why radical feminism is incorrect. I'm hearing why certain radical feminists made you feel uncomfortable, and that's shitty and that sucks. And I'm sorry that happened to you, but that doesn't make it wrong.
No, and it never did. It never, ever did. And I felt like so alone, so isolated. And most of my connections, like the people I felt closest to, were not people in my everyday life. You know, they were people that were, you know, online. And that's the other thing too. Like a lot of this stuff, the only community you can really find online. And then when you try to make community in person, you realize that these women are just as like, or if not more, unhealed, messy, traumatized, victim mindseted. You know, it's really not any basis for a community. Yeah, I got sick of it too. Like I found myself as well, just like.
Okay, let's go to a different part of the video because it seems like she's just talking about community right now and how the specific community that she was a part of, she didn't vibe with. Let's see if later on in the video, because I'm really looking for ideas here, Terry. Please, ideas. Can you talk ideas?
Look at myself and like everything I had attempted to build, everything that, you know, none of the foundations were rock. None of them were solid. None of them were based in something that was, you know, solid. It was all based on things that shift and
things that shift. Right. Do you think that people's views about the Bible haven't shifted over time? Do you think that the specific set of Protestant ideas that you ascribe to right now, because I'm pretty sure you're either like non-denom or like some form of Protestant or Anglican or something like that, but like, do you really think that specific set of ideas existed in 33 AD? Or do you think that it took people innovating those ideas and coming up with and iterating upon previous ideas for those things to come about? Do you really think that America as a country, you know, the country that you constantly claim is the best one on the planet and that you reap all this benefit from, do you really think if they just went, well, you know, things ought not shift or change because shifting and changing is bad. We need to base all of our ideas on things that never shift and change. So let's just stick to King George, guys. Like, you benefit off of ideas shifting and changing. Ideas shifting and changing is natural to the human experience. And acting like moving to one other specific form of ideas all of a sudden isolates you or insulates you from that is delusional thinking. I'm sorry, but you cannot find a single example of an ideology in human history that has not shifted and changed its ideas. Even with the Orthodox, right? People like Daniel always talk about how Orthodoxy is unchanging. Yeah, you guys might be one of the least changing. You guys don't flail around all over the place. You have an occasional spasm, right? But that doesn't mean that they don't occur, because it's just inevitable. You just explained away all the crap that you just said about her. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean by that, Maud? Like, articulate that. I don't really understand what you mean by that.
You know, I also had some pretty interesting spiritual experiences that year. You know, I don't even know where to begin. And I don't know if I want to say exactly what I saw, but I saw some things that were really frightening. You know, I began to...
Right, personal experience. And if you experience those things for yourself, okay, fair enough. You had those experiences for yourself. I can't take those away from you. Right? But how do those personal experiences take away from whether radical feminism is right or wrong? I'm still waiting for that. How does an idea shifting or changing make radical feminism right or wrong when your own ideas that you ascribe to yourself have tangibly shifted and changed throughout human history? You said that ideas change while commenting on her old ideas that have changed. Yeah, you're right. And I literally pointed out earlier that it's one thing for you to shift your ideas, right? It's one thing for you to shift your way of thinking over time. That's inevitable. If you were listening to me earlier, though, Maud, you would have also heard the part where I said if you shift really radically towards one direction or the other, right? That typically necessitates very specific things, a very specific set or criteria of things happening to a person, right? And that's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of here. It's not to say, oh, your idea shifted and changed, therefore it's invalid. As a matter of fact, isn't it not her that's saying that I needed to ascribe to something that isn't shifting and changing? Well, how is the idea not shifting and changing when I can literally pull up countless examples in the historical context of how it literally did exactly that? So no, I'm sorry. I'm sure you thought that that was like a dismantling of my point or argument, but swing and a miss.
See that there's like a spiritual war happening in the world. And, you know, I'd heard of it before, I'd known about it. And obviously, like, I was into, you know, I don't regret any of my time spent learning what I've learned, because obviously, like, sometimes you have to, like, peer into the abyss. You need to understand in order to, like...
Okay, so talk about the things that you learned. Talk about what are the specific things that you learned and why have your views on those things that you have learned shifted and changed. Let me give you an example. I believed that women's liberation was a good thing that ought be pursued, and I no longer believe in women's liberation. Well, no, I would also give a quick explanation. I believed in women's liberation because X, Y, and Z, and I no longer believe in women's liberation because of X, Y, and Z. Isn't that like kind of the whole point of doing this? Of trying to explain to people why you shifted your ideology? Isn't it kind of helpful to actually outline specifics so that people kind of have a guidepost and a reference point rather than just saying a bunch of vague shit? I don't know.
Lead people out of darkness too, but like there's a real agenda out here in the world to polarize us, to separate us, to isolate us, to make us hate one another.
Yeah, and you're pushing that ideology, Terry. You're one of the people that supports a government that's actively doing injustices upon American citizens and is fomenting more division than any other point in recent history. Right? That's the government that you're supporting right now. So if you're all anti-division, if you're, oh, we all need to come together, then maybe you shouldn't be making racial dog whistle jokes that literally highlight things like those divisions between different races and different ideas and ideologies all the time. Thanks for letting me know about Aiden. Oh, I feel so sorry that this is your first exposure to me, Jimmy Tux. This is not me at my best, sir. I promise you that. I'm just going through a little bit of content here ahead of time. I am going to open up the room, though. I think that I've kind of, you know what? Let me skip one more time, okay? Really quickly before I open up the room. I don't want there to be any chance that I've given her an unfair shake here. I'm just waiting for a specific point. Please, Terry, I'm begging you. This is the time, right? This is the time where you're going to come with the point that's specifically criticizing a specific point of radical feminism and why you no longer believe it. Please.
I know that a lot of feminists have kids, obviously. When I was involved in the extreme ideology that I'm speaking of, I didn't like women who had kids. I mean, I liked some individuals, but I was encouraging women who identified as feminists not to have kids. So yeah, I mean, a lot of that goes on. I mean, I'm not trying to equate feminism with stopping people from having kids. I'm not trying to make that argument here. I'm talking about me specifically and what I believed. Because I wasn't just a...
Right, because that's all that this is about. It's all just about your personal interactions with people. That's your sum total reason for why you left. It's not because the ideology was bad. It's because you got a bad vibe from the people that you were around that also had the same ideology. Well, maybe that's a valid reason for you to leave in your mind, but I don't know. I think it's kind of silly and kind of foolish to ditch an idea just because the people that ascribed to the idea gave you an icky vibe and you didn't like them. I don't know. I'm going to open the room now, though. I think I've kind of covered that as well as I reasonably can. Oh, hey, my icon's actually showing up on YouTube properly this time. Look at that. Let's put the link out in the side chat. Now, I have another video that I can review for a little bit if people don't want to come in for a minute or two. I've got one more that I can review. It's kind of my backup. It's my backup video, but no, don't put user in timeout. Let me pin the comment, you silly goose. It's not letting me pin. Come on now. Oh, it's not even out there, period, in the chat. What the hell? No wonder it's not letting me pin. It doesn't actually exist. It's a hallucination. That's all that it is. You thought that the link was there, but in reality, it was all an illusion. No, let me get that actually pulled up on my channel because I don't have my channel pulled. Okay. Is it there now? It's not there. What the heck? Why can't I pin it? That's odd. Okay. Will it show up? Hold on. This is fairly common when sharing a link. You need to share the link another way. Oh, I see. I'm not sharing it properly, according to YouTube. Okay. Let's try that again, then. I know. I don't know why it's not in chat. Why isn't it letting me post the link? Can somebody call mod, please? Copy invite link. There we go. Let's try this one. No, YouTube rejected your comment. Is it not letting me fucking put the invite out there? It's literally not allowing me to. Hold on. Share this link to bring guests on the live. Well, I'm trying, StreamYard. I'm really trying. Well, do it in YouTube. I tried doing it in YouTube as well. Here, let me try that again. Oh, Mod is here. See if it works now. She's here in the backstage trying to get it fixed. She's a stream technician. She's come in through the back door. She's just like, just tweaking things, hoping that nobody notices her. Fuck it! We'll do it live! Fucking thing sucks! That's right. That's right. Exactly. Make me a mod, I'll do it. Well, hold on. Hold on now, Spooky. Let me send this to B.S. Lewis and see if he's able to put it out there. Because that's awful strange. I mean, like, I'm the owner of the stream. I should be able to do that, surely, right? Hold on, let me try signing out of my YouTube account and signing back in. Now it's time for technical difficulties with Aiden Linden. Oh, Mod got it working? Hell yeah. Let me pin that. It's already out there, Chief. Hell yeah. All right, hold on. Let me pull a Peter here. Hold on. Hold on. I'm going to get this pinned. Oh, I've been entirely signed out of YouTube now. Probably because I fucking tried to sign out. Wow. Funny how that works. Tap yes on your phone or tablet can be reached at the moment. What do you mean it can't be reached? My phone is right here, YouTube. It's right here. Okay. Well, I'm going to invite some people into the panel. Welcome, Mod.
Hello. I was here first.
Tonight. You were here first. That is true.
Thank you for putting the link out for us.
Thank you, Missing Mod. You're the one that did it.
Okay, YouTube is very weird right now. I don't know what the hell is going on with this lovely, lovely website who I love very much and have nothing bad to say.
It has no problems or issues whatsoever. Yeah, I love it so much.
The mod.
It might be because you're backstage with your Google. I don't know though.
Am I
don't know because
backstage
that's weird. When I try, yeah, I can see it. But when I tried to share the link from in here, it wouldn't go through then either. So that's weird.
Here, let me try. Let me try this again. Nope, it's not letting me do it here either, even with that closed. That's really strange. I've never had that happen in all the time that I've done streaming.
YouTube rejected your comment. This is fairly common when sharing a link. You may need to share the link another way. I wonder why it's not letting you share links. That's weird.
But you were able to share the link, Mod.
Yeah, but I did it through YouTube with my account, and I have a wrench, so.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Mod saw Aiden's Google backstage. I don't know why it's doing that, Aiden. It's got something to do with your. Well, see, you're the freaking channel owner, though, so that's weird. And I see your comment. I don't know.
Wait a minute. Let's try this again. All right. I signed back in on YouTube. I'm going to try this one more time. I'm going to try this and get this working because we can't bog the stream down too long. But I'm going to try this one more time. I'm going to see if it works. Nope. Still doesn't work. That's really odd. I'll have to try to work out what the hell's going on with that.
Well, are you able to pin my comment with the link? I mean, I don't even think you have to, though.
Let me go back.
Really?
Oh, the chat will probably move at some point, and then people won't be able to get in. I don't see it in the side chat, actually. I'm looking right now. I don't see your comment.
It let me do the referral link. That's weird. I don't know.
Well,
I'll put it out
I've got to
there.
nuke my Google account, apparently.
Yeah. Hopefully that's not my fault. My bad.
No, you're good. I'm sure it's not your fault. It might have been because I put on two-step verification on my Google account. I did put that in recently, so it might be acting a little finicky. I don't know. But the link is out there, right? I mean, surely it is. People got in, so fuck.
I don't want to keep all your other guys out because they are scared of me, so I'm gonna just take off. But I'll be out in the chat, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
All right. You got anything you want to say to me before I go? Or you just want to talk when I leave, huh? You didn't even notice all my accounts.
I did notice your accounts. What are you talking about? I totally noticed your accounts.
Okay.
Come on now. Come on.
I'm just making sure. It hurt my feelings a little bit.
Thanks, Spooky. Thanks, Spooky. I appreciate that. You joik. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, Maud. I appreciated the presence of Aiden's therapist and social worker and all of the other gang. They were very good.
Aiden's ignored Rice.
Aiden's ignored Rice. That one too.
I almost came in with Mike Weiner, but
Mike,
I didn't. Anyway, all right, I'm going.
All right, bye-bye. That is such a strange thing.
Yep, everyone's scared of Maud. That's why she had to leave. Two people, you and me.
It's just us.
Yep.
You and me against the world.
Yep.
I'm sure I'll get it figured out at some point. She's got more power than Aiden. That's the truth. Big Bad Mama. That's the truth. You know, she's the real architect behind all of this. If she wanted to prevent me from ever streaming on StreamYard again, she could do it. She'd be like, fuck you, Aiden.
Yeah, but you're streaming on your own channel, so she doesn't have control over that. You do.
She doesn't have control over what I upload to the channel, but she does have control over the room that I upload it with. So it's kind of like saying that, you know, you may have control over the beans you bought from the coffee place.
Oh, are you?
You don't have control over where the beans came from.
Oh, I see. Oh, you're on her stream, your team.
Correct. That is correct.
Right. Yeah, I get that. I want my team of my own.
Nice. Damn, that's gonna bother me to the point where can other people get in? That's what I'm gonna ask. Well, you did, but I mean, like, can other people like even see the link from the side chat and get in? Can somebody? Is anybody out there? Can we get somebody to let us know whether other people can access the link? Because I want to make sure everybody can. Good, she's gone. Bus driver union commences.
Okay, for some reason, hold on a sec. Yeah, the link is still not pinned. I don't see it.
That's so strange.
Okay,
it's weird. It says I can hide user on this channel. What do you mean hide user? It's me.
Yep. Nope. Can't see it. Wow.
You know what? Maybe I'll hide and then unhide myself. Maybe that'll do it. You cannot moderate yourself.
Jesus Christ.
Well,
honestly, Aiden, at this point, you should just go back to your own team and have 6, rather than the 10 that being on Mod's team gives you.
I don't think it's even that. I think it's the I might be able to pin this one. Message pinned. There we go. All right, finally, fucking hell. I think it's honestly something with my Google account. Maybe it's StreamYard, but I would honestly have to try it on another stream, and maybe it's just glitching out today. I have no idea. But yeah, I'm not gonna have the room open for too crazy long because I've kind of already been going for a little while here. But I just wanted to give other people the opportunity to kind of come on and make their opinions known. You have to.
Well, I wasn't watching for really long, so I don't have any opinions.
Fair enough. No, I just wanted to overview a video that I saw just because I thought it was interesting to kind of compare and contrast what was going on between that video and what I see more in the modern day and age. So I got through that.
Yeah.
But
I will say that I have known a few people like Terry to where they get turned off by something because of bad experiences they had with people in that thing, and I'm like, okay, well, I can understand having bad experiences with the people of that ideal, but why give up that ideal just because you had a bad experience with those people? Did you not believe in the ideal in the first place, and you were just joining to find belonging? Which I understand that, but it's like you're basically telling me that you never believed it in the first place,
right? And
you know what I mean?
No, you're absolutely right. That was a large portion of why I was being critical the way that I was because it's just the paradigm that she's established is one where either she wasn't being true or honest when she was talking all of her rad femme positions, or she was being true and honest about that and she's not representing how she got away from those ideas accurately, because she's talking about the reason that she got away was because of all the people in the community. When if the idea really is so bunk that you don't even want to be associated with it at all anymore, then surely that's because the ideas are bad, not the people. And I just didn't hear anything about that. I never heard any criticism about the ideas being bad. I heard a lot about how individual feminists were bad and she was treated poorly by individual feminists. And that sucks. I'm not discounting that as like a valid experience, but at the same time, that's not a criticism of the idea. So let me try this again because I'm just have a bit of a problem with getting off of this topic. And when I say getting off of this topic, I mean getting the fucking link to work from my end on the chat, because it's a mystery. Why isn't it working? Who's causing this? Surely there are some external factors at play. I think it's Maud. I think that's what it really is. She was like, oh, I'm sorry. And I'm sure she was saying sorry just because she felt the need to apologize, because that's like more socially correct as far as like a reaction to have. Yeah. But in reality, it was a guilty conscience. She feels bad because she sabotaged it from the very get-go. It was all done.
By the way, apparently I'm trying to come between you and her toxic, crazy friendship.
Oh yeah, she did say that earlier. Yeah. We do have a toxic, crazy friendship.
Well, hey, you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna come between you two.
Well, I think I might be, unless you have anything more you'd like to say, midnight, I think I might be closing it down because I've kind of gone through everything I wanted to go through on this show today anyway.
No, that's fine. Thank you for having me on, even though I'm the most annoying fucking asshole that ever existed.
If that was the case, I wouldn't have you on to begin with, my friend. You are a valued asset in this community. Make no mistake. Don't you try and undersell yourself now. I'm not going to accept that. Everybody
fine. I'm the best thing since sliced bread, okay?
There you go. Hell yeah.
I'm a narcissist.
Woo!
I go too little.
Everything that you say is automatically correct because it was you that said it. That's right. Bruh. What do you mean, bruh? You know what, Dean? If you want to come in, this is your chance. This is your opportunity. It's not like
no, don't come in. Don't come in, oh Dean. Don't come in. He has to go. Okay, look. Aiden has been going on for nearly 3 hours. Okay, let the man rest.
I mean, I have some.
Unless
I've kind of ran out of things to say.
Yeah,
I hate to say it, but I think it's pretty reasonable after ranting for almost 3 hours to run out of things to say.
I mean, there are some people who never run out of things to say.
That's true. That's true. I don't think it's a matter of them never running out of things to say. I think it's a matter of them never getting tired of hearing their own voice. I think that's really more of what.
Okay, so which one are you?
Yes.
Oh
hey,
no!
Dean, Welcome to the show. Talk about being fashionably late, you asshole. I mean, hey, buddy.
So I mean,
Well, I figured since the clear people are allowed, the blacks are allowed. So
Oh,
the clear people.
damn,
Wow.
clear people.
Wow. The clear.
You basically don't even exist. You're
I don't really.
You're
In nature, in nature, I get killed. In society,
actually, if you really think about it, like if you're
Don't do it, Dean. Don't try doing that. Don't try doing that at the end of the live stream. If you really think about it, inserts thing that gets Aiden's stream shut down by YouTube here.
no, I want to hear. I want to hear. Come on,
Fuck
big
you.
boy.
Fuck you, Sparkle. Trying to fucking the chat revolt is
No, I
happening.
don't. I don't. I think I don't want to get your channel.
Get back, other people. I'm gonna shoot pepper balls at your feet. Do. Get back.
you're
I wasn't
shooting the
trying.
wrong place.
I wasn't trying to get your channel taken down. I
I
just
know.
wanted to hear what this lovely gentleman of
Listen.
a darker color likes to what he wanted to say about me. That I want a lighter color.
This
It's like-
Jamaican American. That's correct.
If you really think about it, right? If you're clear
No, I'm just joking.
and invisible, right? You have a survival advantage. So
True,
maybe, right? Midnight's, offspring can get so clear they become kind of like predators, right? Like they can go invisible automatically to just refract light around them.
Okay. I will
What?
I will counter that. Hold on. I will counter that. I will counter that and say that one of the reasons why albinos do get killed in the wild is because they lack camouflage. Okay, that's one of the reasons animals. It's like, brah, you're white. Come on, dude. We need to hide. Like, I'm a
I'll
fucking
have you
giant-
know, Noah was a clear baby.
I don't think that
Damn.
Noah was an actual albino. Like, I thought it was too convenient.
Is that,
It's a little bit too convenient.
a little too convenient?
Damn, bro.
Well, hey, sorry.
Aiden, I actually got something to say about your actual topic today, sir.
No, really?
Oh, shit. Oh,
Wow.
shit. Hey guys, so we're shutting the stream down for today. Hope everybody had a good one, and we're gonna be playing it out now. That's a wrap, folks. No, I'm just joking. Please don't go. Please don't.
I
go.
hate.
See?
Okay, look, I hate your voice and how well you do impressions. I swear to God, I wish I had that. Like, seriously.
See, this is what I'm talking about, man. The black man comes in, he starts to speak his mind, and then the man suppresses his thoughts. I didn't know Canadians were like that, Aiden. I thought you guys were all about like chilling by the fire, by your igloos.
Dean, it's because you're brown, okay? I hope you understand. All right. Like,
Sparkle is only in the poly course.
sounds like
Holy
Scientology meets pseudo-archaeology.
Yeah, dude.
Archaeology part of Scientology. That's like saying Scientology meets another aspect of Scientology. Is what that sounds like to me.
No, so I listened. I had to step away at the last couple of minutes, but I listened throughout the whole First of all, the transformation, the colored hair and stuff like that. I didn't know it was like, I know what she shared before her beliefs, right? But I didn't know it was like that deep. But the specific thing that I wanted to talk about was the idea of experiencing, that you were kind of critiquing earlier, where it's an ideology that she's drawn to, right? And so she wanted to step into it to experience what it is. Um, I don't necessarily see that as being performative. I see it as more so, think of it this way. Like if you want to experience a particular type of culture, right? The best way to get the experience is to actually like be around the people who participate in that culture. So if you want to experience, what it like to be a furry, then you go hang out with furry people and you do the things that furry people do. We don't know what they do.
I mean, like,
What do they do?
is that really true for everything though? Like the example that I get, which by the way, I just want to say, I actually was making the argument that what she was talking about when she was a radical feminist rang a lot more true and authentic because she was citing specific things. She was citing specific ideas. She was talking about specific ideas. She was articulating them very effectively. And don't get me wrong, I didn't necessarily agree with every single thing that she was saying while she was expressing those ideas, but I wouldn't say that she was performative when she adopted that. If anything, I would say that the idea that she needed to deny what she called her own bisexuality because she viewed it as unacceptable, I would view that as a lot closer to being performative because you're denying a part of yourself for the sake of other people.
I mean, sure, but if it's a situation, did I don't think she said she denied that for the sake of other people.
She said she
Did
denied it
she?
because it was unacceptable, which I mean, do you really think that if bisexuality was acceptable within the Christian community, that that would have been the case? Like, do you really think that if they were just okay with bisexuality and that that was fine? No, it's not acceptable within 90% of Christian communities.
Well, I think there's probably a conflation between like and to be fair, most Christians kind of see it that way, where they identified the sexuality with the practice. So if a woman is bisexual, right, they automatically think that she is engaging both men and women, right? Which is probably the view that she had, and so she associated the attraction with the behavior, like participated in the
But
behavior. That's
Dean,
probably why.
the way that she was making it out was that like she was only being a bisexual because she wanted to fit into a group of people, and I just like
Oh, so you're
do you really
saying
think in good faith that that's really something that people do? Do you really think people go as far as pretending like they are a completely different sexuality just for the sake of fitting into another group of people?
nah, I'm not suggesting that.
No,
What
but it
I'm
does
saying is,
happen.
I mean, I guess I don't know of
Well,
anyone
well, hang
pretending
on,
to like
Odin,
both.
Odin.
Mhm.
The desire to fit in is so strong that people will literally lie to themselves to fit in.
Right, but the thing that I'm trying to point out, I'm not trying to say that people never do that. What I'm trying to say is that the way that she's applying it, I don't believe is entirely honest because she's trying to apply it as though like, oh, the only reason that I was bisexual was to fit into this group of people when first and foremost, being bisexual is not a requirement for being a feminist or a radical feminist. Nobody in the radical feminist community requires you to be a bisexual in order to be a part of that community. You do need to be straight to be a part of 95% of Christian communities. So there's that. And then there's the fact that she literally cited the fact that it was unacceptable as a reason for why she was not bisexual anymore. So I'm sorry, but that's a pretty solid case to say that the time that she changed her ways in order to suit a certain group of people wasn't when she was a feminist, it's when she left feminism.
I mean, I'm not even necessarily pushing back on that. I think what you should probably do is get like a clarification, because again, most typical Americans, they're going to associate the attraction, right? They're going to hear the attraction and then they'll assume you're engaging based on that attraction. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of
Mhm.
like like a gay man, right? He's a Christian, right? He's never slept with another man, right? you know, and he's celibate, right? But when a typical Christian would hear, hey, you know, I'm a gay man, they'll assume that he's a Christian man sleeping with other men, right? And so they'll like slap him with the label of, you know, fornicator or whatever. And yes, there's a lot of hypocrisy when it comes to that, because nearly not as much, you know, heterosexual fornication gets condemned in the Christian community. But I'm just saying, maybe the clarification, if she says, well, I associate though, you know, my bisexuality with, you know, like my state of existence being a sin, right? Then I eat every single word that I said. I'll even have it with ketchup, which I hate.
And look, I don't know how much or how little you saw of what I was criticizing there about what she was saying, but I just hope that you know, just as much as I hope Terry knows, that I wasn't doing that to try and like bully her or like put her down or like make fun of her or anything like that. I just found comparing those two videos to be very interesting, especially doing it extemporaneously with the second one. I didn't even look at that one at all, but I just got the feeling that it would be interesting to compare and contrast them. And surely enough, I just think that the reasoning that she gives for that video is the same reasoning that I've seen in other people in this community. Like I said earlier, Azza, right? When he ended up leaving the whole Kentucky atheist community and started calling the LGBT community the alphabet mafia and all that shit. He didn't do that because he evaluated the ideas and genuinely found that those ideas were worse. He did it because he got kicked off of Joe's channel and he got pissed off at it. And I'm not saying those are directly analogous to each other, but what I'm saying is that it's all too common, unfortunately, that when somebody tries to justify when they leave a certain way of thinking, they try to use emotional arguments to justify it rather than actually using any kind of critique of the idea itself. And what that speaks to me of is that they were never really wrapped up in the ideas of that thing in the first. Either they were never wrapped up in it in the first place.
Yep, that's what I said before. Thanks for stealing my stuff.
No. Well, I already said that earlier on the stream. Thank you very much. If anything, you came on here and ended up hijacking my idea. No, I'm joking. So there's that, right? There's either that, or you are trying to soften the fact that you don't actually have any reasons as far as ideas are concerned for why you left that group of people. And that's not going to sound very good if you're just honest about that and say, well, I ended up leaving it not because I didn't agree with the ideas, but because I was sick of the fucking people that were adhered to that idea and I didn't want to deal with them anymore. Like, that's one thing. But she's trying to act like on one hand that like, oh, I left radical feminism and the ideas of radical feminism are wrong, but I'm not going to provide any specific criticism of why they're wrong. I'm just going to say the people that were expressing them were icky.
By the way, apparently you're being corrected in chat. Azo left. He wasn't kicked.
So to me, this sounds like a
That's news to me, Mod.
This kind of sounds like a socio-political version of being church hurt, essentially, right? I'm sure you guys heard the term before, where someone goes to a particular church, they had like one bad experience, and then they like leave the whole thing like a Catholic, you know, turning Protestant, basically, because of an event that took place in his personal church, or they'll like leave the religion all, you know, completely as a result of something they experience in their church. And I mean, I think I'm not going to say whether it's a good or a bad reason. Everyone approaches those things different, and that could be very possible. But I think if you really probably want to get the crux of like why she left, honestly, sounds like a good idea for a show. You can do a part 1 on yours, and you can do a part 2 on hers.
Yeah, I mean,
because
that's really all I'm looking for right now, for the record, is just like, you know, like, here's a specific tenet of radical feminism. here are the reasons why I used to support it, and here are the reasons why I don't support it anymore. That's really what I'm looking for. I think that's pretty reasonable. Hey, Achilles, welcome
Yeah.
to the show.
What up?
Woo!
Oh, you're definitely gonna get that DEI check now, brother.
I've got a gay guy, I've got a Greek guy, and I've got a black guy on the show. It's
There
about
you
as
go.
diverse as we can get over here right now.
Aiden's diversity show. Right,
right.
here, guys.
If you're a
But yeah.
straight white American man, you'll be shot on sight if you come in here. That's a warning. No, I'm just joking.
Not a Canadian man.
Well, that's right, because we're diverse. Hey, there's only like 30-something million of us and over 300 million of you, okay? So that's definitely true. We're the minority, all right?
I think it's actually a really good idea for both of you to do a show or shows to flesh out this particular question, because I'm curious as well. And I think she's had enough time in terms of 2 years to flush out reasons why she joined and why she left ultimately. And I guess you guys can question whether or not it makes sense or not. Because something doesn't necessarily have to make sense for someone to even leave an ideology. Sometimes they just don't want to be affiliated or associated with certain behaviors that might come from having that ideology. So it's not necessarily the ideology is bad. It's just that the people who they congregate around is just really shitty people, and they get turned off as a result. Now, I don't think it's fair to associate the idea with the people in of itself, right? But ultimately, these ideas manifest as a result of people.
They manifest as a result of people, but whether or not they are correct or incorrect is irrespective of how people treat you, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, there are plenty of ideas that are expressed interpersonally throughout any social group that, yeah, I agree. There's social context. There's social constructs. They're made up by people. They're articulated by people. But ultimately, it's describing something bigger than individual people, right? It's trying to attempt to articulate or describe a wider social idea or construct, and articulate in many instances a criticism of it and why it ought be changed, right? So although I agree that it is something that is made up by individuals, it is something that is bigger than any one individual is.
I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with that, but you have to understand that I'll give you an example, right? A large portion of the reason why Christians, from people who were Christians, leave Christianity, is not necessarily even the religion as a practice itself, right? It's more so the behavior of other Christians, right? Now,
And I would
the
disagree
large
with that as a practice as well, by the way. That's actually I myself am kind of guilty of that to an extent. One of the reasons why I became a anti-theist for a period of time in my teens was because I had such a negative experience with my Catholic school growing up. And I kind of used the springboard of, well, I was negatively treated, therefore I was negatively treated by a group of Christians, therefore Christianity conceptually as an idea is stupid and false. And I mean, that's a really bad form of reasoning. And I came to realize that as I grew up and matured, and just came to understand that if you're going to be critical of an idea, you need to be critical of the ideas, not the people that impose them upon you.
Yeah, and I think the way to probably do that in Terry's case, because I mean clearly she kept the videos up, right? So she doesn't feel as if it's something that she needs to hide. So I'm sure she'll be perfectly fine just doing a small show, you know, kind of explaining why she decided to, you know, abandon one particular idea and adopt another one that's, you know, by for all intents and purposes to some people, the opposite.
I I just want to put my own viewpoint out there just to make it so that, like, I'm not trying to hide anything from anybody. I personally think that the reason why she shifted ideas, from my very limited understanding of her experience compared to hers, I think it's because she was expressing it earlier. She felt lonely. She felt like she was outcast, and she wanted to find a group of people that would be more accepting of her. And she was kind of willing to trade in her principles and her scruples in exchange for that, in exchange for that community, in exchange for that sense of belonging and togetherness. And, you know, I can empathize with that to a decent extent. Every single person wants to feel like they belong somewhere. We're social animals. I mean, like, there's no such thing as a truly individual person as far as that particular aspect is concerned. But that doesn't mean that you abandon your morals or abandon your scruples or abandon your principles in exchange for those things. I think that that can lead to a pretty negative outcome for yourself.
I mean, define negative, right? If it's a situation where she's looking at it where she, you know, let's say she doesn't see the core of the idea functionally, right? As being productive for women, right? And so let's say there's an aspect of it that she criticizes, right? And then as a result of criticizing, she's now put in a situation where she's isolated from that community because she went against the grain. Now, suffice to say that the current ideology that she has, right, the same thing can absolutely happen if she disagrees vehemently with certain core concepts for whatever reason, right? But I'm just saying that um, the the I understand fundamentally what you're saying, but ultimately people are going to adopt ideas that they think is useful for them when it comes to the type of relationships they have and the society that they live in.
Well, I mean,
Now,
okay, let me just really quick, Achilles,
yeah,
before
yeah.
you say something. To clarify what I mean by saying negative, I mean, I can only criticize things from the basis of my personal sensibilities, right? I'm not going to act like I'm some representative of some greater form of idea or anything like that. But in the realm of my personal sensibilities, scruples and principles are paramount. Those things are the core of what you are. Those things make up the core of your identity. And if you abandon those things for the sake of social convenience, then you have said to yourself that you do not even value your own core identity as much as you value the immediate convenience of surrounding yourself with other people that are like-minded. So that's just my own personal critique of that. Achilles, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I want to go after Hercules. I think that's a good point, but I want to make a caveat to it.
I just want to start my speech by saying,
Okay, come on, keep going, man. And by the way, Aiden, I agree with what you said. I'll probably also agree with old
Oh,
Dave's
Gaiden, I've
caveat.
never heard of that one before. Fuck you, Midnight Sparkle. You're out of here.
Yeah, I did
That's
what
what I thought
Dave
he
was, and
said
I
too.
disagree.
He's joking.
Okay, I disagree vehemently. Okay, you want me to be a contrarian? I'll be a contrarian. Fuck you.
All right, Achilles,
all right.
go ahead.
All right. First off, a shout out to Terry and Jamie, and the prayer from me and everybody else that wants to, because they are having a situation going on, which is a medical situation. So
Oh, really?
yeah, if anything,
Hold on. Why are you airing it out here? If it's private, why are you airing it out?
it is not that private, but I'm pretty sure that Aiden didn't know about it.
I didn't know
when
anything about that at
Yeah,
all. No.
so
Yeah,
it was a
it's
little.
not private.
Okay,
So
fair
it was
enough.
a little untimely, and I'm just trying to point out that we have you in our prayers, Terry. We hope everything goes great. And
Yeah,
anyway,
seriously, I'm really sorry to hear about that, Terry. I had no idea about that whatsoever. I would have definitely saved this for a different day if I had known that that was going on with you. I apologize about that. Sorry, keep going, Achilles.
right. No, I just wanted to bring it to your attention that yeah, it was an untimely coincidence. So other than that, I kind of I'm all the way in with what Aiden is presenting, and I'm trying, and I will try hard to disconnect it from the person. But when you change, it's exactly as he just said. When you change your values because of some social um, uh, acceptance, you did not have those values to begin with. So it's one of the two. You either didn't have them, or your values are
Or you're
you ha-
shifting the narrative of why you changed it because you don't have any actual criticism of the idea.
and I don't think that it is contributing to the cause that you are switching into. Because if I switch from believing A, I need to explain to the rest that believe in A why I switched so they can consider it as well. Just saying because I was unlucky and I met the wrong kind of guys or gals, that doesn't change their mind. They're not. It is not being effective to begin with to help others see what you saw. I'll give a quick example. If let's say I was against immigration, and there is this party in my country that is also against immigration, I will vote for that party. When that party goes around and says, I'm going to save you from illegal immigration by planting landmines all over the borders, I need to separate myself from that and say, whoa, wait a minute. Now you just lost my vote. If I change my values on, I don't want to kill people, I don't want to kill children, because that's what the party wants, then I don't know. That's a pretty bad way to back up your own values. So I can, if I had that view that I'm against illegal immigrants, just because one party said that that's what they want to do, that should not change my view on the immigrants. Just because that party is so extreme about it, it should not change my views.
I mean,
For the record, I'm not against illegal immigration. I think that, as Aiden has pointed out in previous shows, sometimes that is the only way that some people can leave their country. There is no time for going through legally. But I don't want to change the subject. Back to you guys.
yeah. Mod said, "Here it goes. Come on, Mod. Come on. Let's keep things civil. Let's keep it civil." Well, you don't vote. That might be the reason it's happening. You know what, Mod? The reason why that's not an effective criticism is because the voting in America has not really been demonstrated to be super effective, at least in its current form. Because when you're voting for an elector for the Electoral College rather than the actual candidate themselves, and the candidate themselves isn't the actual one that the American people wanted, with the example of Bernie Sanders, it was overwhelmingly obvious that not only did the vast majority of Americans prefer Bernie Sanders as a candidate over Hillary Clinton in 2016, but it was also abundantly clear through poll after poll after poll that was done at that point that Bernie Sanders would have beaten Donald Trump in 2016. And did he end up getting in 2016? No, because it's very clear that the Democratic Party doesn't actually give a shit about winning the presidency as much as they care about platforming the right candidate that will do the things that they want them to do and toe the party line, right? So when you have a bunch of super delegates because that's what they are. Look it up. If you go and look at the Democratic National Convention for 2016, you'll find that there was a whole bunch of regular delegates that were voting for Bernie, but then the super delegates came in. And then for some reason, the super delegates, all of which are chosen by these big, giant mega corporations and by the Democratic Party themselves, they all universally decided, yeah, Bernie Sanders isn't for us. Hillary Clinton is the candidate for the Democratic Party. And then she was the one that was put on the ticket. All right. So it's clear that the American voter is only going to get what those parties view as safe. They're only going to get what those parties view as palatable, right? So if that's the case, if I can demonstrate to you an example of the American people clearly desiring one candidate and not even being allowed to be able to vote for that candidate in the election, because that candidate is so dangerous, they represent such a danger to the current paradigm, that we're not even going to let them have a chance at becoming the president. That kind of goes to show that American voting is a bit of a fucking pageant show at this point, isn't it? It's a bit of a, I'm not acting like it's completely useless, but to act like your vote as an American is equal isn't true. Because let's face it, if you vote for a Republican candidate in California, your vote is essentially meaningless. It's meaningless because the vast majority of people in California are going to vote for the Democratic delegate who's going to vote for the Democratic president. So your vote for a Republican in California as a presidential candidate is just as useless as a Democratic vote is going to be in somewhere like South Carolina, right? Or Missouri. Those people don't actually have an effective choice on who they're going to get because of the way that the Electoral College works. People aren't voting for the president. Land is voting on people's behalf, and it's a bunch of bullshit.
Can I go now?
Yeah, go ahead, Dean.
Okay, so um, going back to the last thing you said. Okay, if I think at some point, for a lot of people, right, you have to make a decision in terms of the type of person you want to be, right? And sometimes being that person, that type of person, you have to pick the people that you can be around while being that person. So let's say, you know, I don't know her position back then when it comes to marriage and stuff like that, right? And let's say the ideology that she adopted um, isn't in support of the typical types of marriage or marriage setup, right? Nor does it think that it's useful. But after a while, she realizes that's something that she wants, but that particular community that she's a part of, they won't support that idea, right? If she, you know, if that's something she values a lot, and that community, she won't be able to exist in that community comfortably while being a married woman, for example, right?
What community is
Then
that?
I don't know, whether it's a feminist or
There's
whatever
loads of people in
community.
the feminist community that are married, though. That's not true.
No. I'm not making any claims. You
Oh,
don't understand what
okay.
I'm saying.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that if that's something that's not valued, just because people might be married whom are feminists, male or female, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that the ideology in of itself has much to say on the institution of marriage and its usefulness for society and individuals, right? So I'm just saying, if that's something that, even though functionally speaking, the ideology is not against it, but in terms of like active behaviors, right, and sensibilities, people aren't really for it. I can understand someone changing, not wanting to be affiliated with that particular group mindset, because when I used to participate in hookup culture, the way how I looked at it was, you know, I'm not hurting anyone. Like, as long as people are consenting, who cares, right? But then after a while, right, I realize the psychological effects that it has on people, both short and long term, especially for women, right? And so I didn't want to be a part of that anymore. And so I adopted the ideology to not participate in that culture. Like, this was before I became a Christian.
Right, but like, is
Mhm.
the do you believe though that like the ideas expressed by that culture are less valid than you did before?
Hookup culture?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't think it's useful for society.
I mean, I would simply say that it's useful in the sense that if you don't allow people to do that in a setting where there is actually some kind of guideline in place, where like there's actually these apps that exist where you kind of can vet the people that you're meeting with and can kind of at least get a little bit of a background into them, so you're not just like randomly hooking up with some dude that you met at the club or something like that. I think that that's probably going to facilitate a better interaction than people just randomly hooking up. I think that that typically results in more violent and unfortunate outcomes than if people actually have a platform where they can get together and have some kind of vetting of each other before they hook up. Because let's face it, I mean, like, people are going to hook up. People have always done that. It's not going to go away anytime soon. So I think it's definitely good that we allow that culture to exist, simply because if we don't allow it to exist in any kind of above ground capacity, it's just going to get pushed underground and it's going to create more suffering. I think one of the main
Well,
arguments I've heard, just really briefly, one of the main arguments that I've heard as to why we shouldn't normalize it and not allow it and accept it into our culture is this idea that, well, if it's normalized and allowed, then more people are going to participate in it. And I don't even necessarily think that that's always the case. I think if somebody really is so vehement about the idea that they just want to have a sexual encounter without any kind of strings attached to it in terms of a relationship, they're going to go seek that out. They're going to seek that behavior out for themselves. I just think that it's better that if they do seek that behavior out, they be given a decent platform to do so. So go ahead.
well, I think people should value relationships and value people more than sexual encounters with people, because after a while you witness what we witness today, which is a form of dehumanization, where you only see that particular person as a means of pleasure and that's it, right? Now, I mean, aside from the moral aspect of it, I'm talking from the perspective of relationships, right? If
Right.
someone, especially this culture doesn't benefit women, because it's only a few particular men who really benefit from that culture, and two, it doesn't benefit the regular guy, because the availability of these, you know, um, the more well-off men, whether physically or monetarily or whatever, right?
Right.
Those men are typically going to get access to more women, and so I think I think I'm not saying we should like strip away people's choices.
Right. That's what I was
I'm
about to ask
saying
you was
I'm
like, do
saying
go ahead. No, please
what I'm
finish what you're saying.
saying is you have to show that you have to show the other sides of it to show that it's not beneficial for society as a function. Because if people aren't valuing people from the perspective of human dignity anymore, especially when it comes to their sexual desires, well, you're just participating in another form of dehumanization in our society ultimately, and
Okay.
that's why I don't like that particular culture.
Well, one
So
thing I do. Okay, go ahead. I had a question.
just really briefly, I just want to interject and just say that like it's really a question of, if you morally disagree with it and you think that the morals and scruples behind why people ought not do that, then that's fair enough. The thing I would begin to take an issue with you would be if, not that you do, but if you begin going, okay, and because of those things, we need to make it so that people aren't allowed to participate in that culture at all. Because I think that people should be allowed to pursue those things if they have the desire to do so. If two consenting adults want to engage in a transactional relationship that is entirely sexual in nature, then I think they should have the freedom to be able to pursue that as long as they're both consenting adults. Go ahead, Midnight.
Yeah, I just wanted to state this is valid. Odin, what do you think of BDSM culture?
I mean, I think it's okay. I don't have any issues with it.
Right. But at the same time, there's certain parts of BDSM culture that does do "quote unquote" dehumanization only in a controlled manner. Like there are some people who genuinely, people out there who genuinely want to be dehumanized, which is weird. But hey, humanity is weird.
I mean, that's true. No, I mean, like, for as weird as it is, if somebody wants that done to them and it's not hurting anybody else, then fuck it. As far as I'm concerned, let them do it.
Well,
yeah.
That particular preference is a practice of showing affection or being shown affection isn't the same thing as because I wouldn't be against BDSM if two people were into into that type of thing and they're in a consensual relationship, right? Whether it's two people or three people or whatever, right? And it's not like running wild, then yeah, I don't care.
Right. No, I was
doing
just
their beds.
because I was just curious because you said that the hookup culture or whatever you called it is dehumanizing, and people are treated like, hey, you know what? Let's have sex. Let's move. You know what I mean? That's why I wanted to ask you how you felt about that, because
Yeah, I mean,
it is relevant.
I think it ultimately is because a man who doesn't have to go through the effort of even learning how women work, right?
Right.
That makes him have less empathy for women, and so he
Yeah,
sees them
I disagree with that.
as objects. Well, I mean, when I say less empathy, I mean from how is it his choices and behaviors is going to affect that women. Like if he doesn't care about just using and abusing women, right? When I say use and abuse, I don't mean like in the punch her in the face type of way. When I say use and abuse, I mean he has his fun and then he kind of like, Leonardo DiCaprio move on to the other one, right?
Oh yeah. Hold on. Time out. The other day, I literally saw a video trying to connect The Great Gatsby to Titanic. It was so good. It was so good how Jack became the Great Gatsby. It's like he died in 1912, but then 1922, he was just like, God damn. It tried to connect it. It did pretty well.
So I have a question for you, Dean.
Sure.
Do you think that people who engage in hookup culture are inherently going to lean towards dehumanization of women, or do you think that that is a choice that they make themselves as to whether or not they allow those experiences to make them lean that particular direction? Because I disagree with the idea that an experience inherently molds somebody towards a certain direction. I think that there's an aspect of that. I think it's undeniable that people definitely do get partly molded by experience. But at the same time, that if that was all that it was, right? If people were just purely experiential in their nature, then I don't think that we would exhibit the behaviors that we're exhibiting right now in this room. So,
I would argue that the person that's going to abuse women is attracted to that. Like, you know what I mean? They're predisposed. I think that's basically what you were saying, right? That they joined because they really wanted to.
Yeah, and I guess we'll let Odin respond. Let's
go ahead. Sorry.
This is not just a dehumanization of women thing. it's also a dehumanization of men, because now what you run into, right, is that the overall value of a man is going to be stripped down to a few things, and most men aren't going to have access to those things, right?
Right, but
And so the
I'm saying
ones
this
that
politely. I don't feel like you're necessarily answering my question, though. But my question was, do you think that somebody, whether it's a man or a woman, when they're exposed to those situations where they're in hookup culture, do you think they're just automatically going to become predisposed to dehumanizing those people, or do you think that that is a choice that they make to
I think
dehumanize those
it's
people?
I don't think it's a I don't think anyone starts off that way, but they end up that way.
I mean, not universally, though, surely. Not
I
every single
mean,
person that
there's
goes through hookup culture for a long time ends up a dehumanized maniac that's chopping people up in their apartments like Ed Gein or
I
something
ain't
like that.
talking about that.
Like,
I'm not talking about like that because I mean clearly I'm someone who participated in it and realized that it was wrong and
Yeah, and look
decided
at
to
you. You hate
stop.
women. You old
Right?
Dean, you hate women, don't you?
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. I hate women.
But
someone
no,
clip
no,
that!
look, look.
Someone clip that!
Yeah, no, but look. I think I think if somebody is going to abuse women or men or whatever, they're going to do it regardless of where,
No, no.
like, whether they're in a
Don't
group or
use
not.
abuse. Don't use abuse in that way. When I say use and abuse, I mean they 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 are using the person solely
Well, I
for
mean, no
sexual
offense, no
pleasure, and that's
offense.
it.
Let's
Well,
let him
The
finish. Let's let
reason,
him finish, though. Let's
sorry.
just let him finish.
like, I just want to clarify that because when I say use, right, both people can be using each other, right? It doesn't necessarily mean just because they're both using each other mean it's a good thing, right? So absolutely, if everyone's consenting and doing their thing, right, functionally speaking, on its surface, it's not using each other, right?
Well,
But if it
y-
gets to the point where where the emotional and mental states of a person is now being ignored by the other person and even the person themselves, right? If those things are being affected to make it not make it so they don't value the other person outside of those base functions, then I think that's wrong and it's dehumanizing. It manifests differently for men and it manifests differently for women, mainly
okay,
because of
but
sexual dimorphism. Go ahead.
okay. So no, but do sorry. Do. God damn it. I know you don't mean abuse in that way, but we really can't help thinking that way because you use the word abuse. The word abuse is like charged. I don't know if you could find a better word for it. You know what I mean? Because yeah, when someone says
I said
abused,
use. I said use and abused.
yeah, used and abused, like you now see how those two words together paint a certain picture.
Sure. But I gave, that's why I gave clarification.
Right. I know you did. It's just whatever. I don't know. They just figured, it could be put a better way so people don't, come off thinking a certain way about it.
What I don't get is how okay, I have to bring an example. I never was fond of homosexuality in my life before I became a Christian. But I saw it not as oh, what would people think or what the cultural thing about it. I just felt it wasn't right. So when I became a Christian, I also saw that the position of the issue, according to the Bible, is that God created men and women. He created Adam and Eve and not Adam and Steve. So if somebody turns from being open to that idea and becomes Christian, for me as a Christian, it is very weird to hear them say, oh, I changed because it wasn't acceptable in my new environment or in whatever social construct. I changed because I found it to be wrong. I actually sat down and thought about it and think that this side has it right. That's what I appreciate to hear, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that for now, I guess.
How are you, Aiden? I'm doing all right. 21st century psalmist. I wish I had more to contribute, but my brain is a little bit mush at this point. The truth must be told. All I would say about that. What?
You said your brain is mushed after listening to 2 hours of Terry.
I didn't say it was mush after listening to 2 hours of Terry. I said it was mush, and the reason why is because I've been streaming for almost 4 hours at this point. No matter what you cover, your brain is going to be mush at the end of that, man. I mean, goodness gracious. Whatever the subject matter.
Some people's brain is mushed before they even start streaming. So
that's very true.
Bro, who are you taking shots at?
It's true.
Oh, they know who they are.
That's funny. Oh boy, Achilles. God also created them to breathe through inside. I mean, hey, look. If you look at the genomes of all human beings, every single human being briefly is actually a woman before they become a man. They all end up getting an aberration. Some of them will end up getting an XY chromosome, but they all start out XX chromosome. So if you really think about it, it wouldn't be Adam and Steve. It would be like, I don't know, Mary and Terry. I don't know.
Hey, Aiden, have you ever watched?
Aiden, how did we get here? I mean, if the other genome,
I don't think you want to have that conversation.
No, I'm saying that there's a brief period during gestation for every single person.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Where you're a woman, and then you become. Some of them become men later on, but it's just a scientific fact that, like, for a very brief moment,
I call us defective women.
Some become women later.
Defective women.
God,
yeah,
here we go.
Okay, hold on. Aiden, have you ever watched House?
I have watched House.
Okay, and this is an episode I really love. To where you have like this woman who you come to find out she has 0 testosterone, yet she still has an X.
Oh,
and it's
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
The perfect woman is a man. I forget the name, but I love that quote.
No, it's true. It's because she has male genomes. Like, she does have XY chromosomes, but because of the aberration that happened while she was in the womb, she has like internal testes, I believe was what.
Yeah, I wonder. I wonder how Christians explain that.
I mean, well, we'll talk about that another day, I'm sure.
Abnormality.
Well, I mean, I'm sure we can get into a bit more depth on that in another show. I think I'll give everybody an opportunity to make their closing statements, though. I think that we've kind of seen things to at least a semi-natural conclusion here. If anybody would like to say anything in closing, I'll give them the chance. Don't everybody talk all at once.
I'll go first because I'm quick.
Sounds good.
For the show. I had a great time listening in as I was building something here, and well said, and hope to see you next time.
I blame the Greeks for everything.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
They gave us democracy, but failed to tell us to give us the little side notes.
Oh, they said the euro at first. I thought you were making a commentary on their economy there for a second.
No. They gave us democracy, but they didn't tell us to read the fine print that it'll always lead into tyranny.
Dang.
Or an oligarchy,
The original democracy was never
and
about
oligarchy.
a two-party system.
That is true.
Yeah, well,
Listen to two-party system. That is true. I'll just say as a closing statement, unless you want to make one midnight, would you like to make a closing statement, sir?
Okay, well, thank you for having me on. I do enjoy listening to your streams. It's very energetic.
Thank you.
Did you say ill?
I said thank you.
Oh, just
ew, gross. He's giving me compliments and praise. That's nasty.
okay. Well, I know you're not really used to that, so fuck you. You suck. I hate you.
That's more like it. That's more the tone.
You see, Aiden likes being degraded. There you go.
I swear to God, I'm gonna throw all of you back out in the backstage. No, I'm joking.
Come on, I'm joking with you.
I know you're joking. I know. I just wanted to use a final statement. Terry, I'm really sorry to hear that there's something going on with you medically. I had no idea about that whatsoever, and I'm gonna put this in the comments as well.
It's with Jamie.
It's with Jamie. Okay. See, that just shows how little I actually know about this. If I knew about that ahead of time, I would have done this another day as far as covering this as a topic. Is it acceptable to ask what's going on? Do they say what's going on with him? Like what's happening?
Yeah, they've shared it. He felt weird, and he went to the doctor, and it ends up he needs to do an operation, which they didn't do yesterday, and they're going through it today.
Oh, geez. Okay, so all the best, Jamie. I really hope that goes well for you, and I wish you a good and swift recovery. Yeah, I'm gonna put in the comments section to reiterate, like if I knew about this, I would have done it a different day. But anyways, thank you everybody that was here for the stream. If you enjoyed the stream, please give it a like, please give it a share, please give my channel a subscription if you haven't already and enjoyed the content here today. And with that being said, have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.